$60 million!
You've been seeing that a lot, right? What does it all mean, though? Here's my friend Alex Machine Richardson to help explain.
So, 60 mil, 20 tournaments, 8 weeks. You probably already know. But how does a club prove themselves to be the very best in the world? That is where the Esports World Cup Club Championship comes in. The Club Championship is where things really heat up. $20 million awarded to the top 16 clubs, with the newly crowned best club in the world awarded an astonishing $7 million.
Wait, so how does that actually work?
It's simple. We've got 20 tournaments. In each tournament, the top 8 teams get awarded points towards their club championship total. The higher you place, the more points you get. Now, these points are worth the same in all titles, so it is important to not put all of your eggs in one basket. But it's important to remember that the club champion needs to win at least one individual game tournament.
Nice, so we'll probably be seeing clubs trying to qualify across a range of games to have the best chance of getting their hands on $7 million.
Yeah, man, there's your incentive. More clubs across more games, more competition.
And so the race begins. This summer, we will crown the best esports club in the world.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Esports World Cup qualifiers for Rainbow Six Siege, the final game for our European sides to see who will take that final spot in Riyadh. It's Gibson Cass here, joined by Whippet to bring you the action of Team Secret versus ITB. But Whippet, before we look on that fixture, we had a hell of a day of action yesterday.
We certainly did, and we managed to send 2 French teams to the group stage of the Esports World Cup in just 3 weeks' time, and you know what? It was a dominant performance from both BDS and Wolves. Wolves, a new look roster, 2 new players on this side coming into it, and those new players stood up tall for this team. But we have granted keys to the Esports World Cup for 2 teams. We've still one more key in the European region to go, and that will be decided today. But Gibby, a lot of pressure on the shoulders of both these teams.
Oh, there definitely is. There's a lot on the line. We all know how large the prize pool is for not only just Siege, but for these organizations when it comes to the overall clubs system. As we have a look at the tournament itself, 21 games over the span of just over 6 or 7 weeks. And but we've already crowned our first champions as Falcons, if I'm not wrong, took the Call of Duty Warzone title yesterday. And later on today, we'll also find out who the Esports World Cup winners are for League of Legends.
Yes, I mean, we were already getting some frames added to the totem out there in Riyadh so far. I mean, you mentioned Falcons able to crush many keys on their way towards that victory in this, but of course the massive prize pool here for the entire event, 60 million USD across all of it. Rainbow Six, our game that we care the most about for this one, has a $2 million prize pool for teams that make it all the way to this stage, and a lot going into it. But of course, for those teams to make it to the Esports World Cup, there's a lot of steps they go through, and the qualifying process has been a difficult one across all the regions for these teams, battling out through a series of open qualifiers to make it to this closed stage. Brazil have sent 4 representatives, North America still to decide 1 more, which will happen after the European Games today. We have 1 more European team, as I mentioned. LATAM have sent Team Cruelty, Asia have sent Bleed, South Korea have got PSG Talon going, Japan have sent Scars, Oceania have Bliss representing them, and MENA have GK. So very stacked representatives across the globe.
And I've got to laugh at how quickly you glanced over Scars there. As the world's biggest CAG fan, I know you took that loss personally. But yeah, congratulations to Scars winning that one just before we went live on the air with this matchup. And if you were watching North America last night too, I believe we welcomed Dark Zero and Luminosity Gaming through to those finals as well. We'll find out later on who between SSG and Sonics will be going through in that matchup. But this has been an impressive tournament so far when you look at the teams that have already secured their spot over there. Obviously, there was some, really contentious regions. People were wondering whether Falcons would make it from MENA, but GK are the team that took that side. Looking at Europe, to remind the viewers at home of the games that happened on Friday that have not, that we did not get on broadcast. We lost G2. We lost VP. Some huge names in the Siege scene will not be taking part because they've been beaten by better, hungrier, younger sides.
Oh, it's brave words for that one, but of course, I think the two big results that stand out to me is going to be, number one, that G2 lost. Wolves, absolutely, both two new-look rosters, and Wolves came out of the gate swinging, getting that one wrapped up within 3 maps. Another 3-mapper was VP BDS, and you were speaking to, I believe, Lickifak about this, and you mentioned how tight every round was. While VP haven't made it to the second or third day of qualifiers, they were a very difficult team to beat, and as we look forward towards stage 2, you got a feel in Europe that they can be a very dangerous contender, but they haven't booked their key all the way to the Esports World Cup.
The seeding for those brackets has an impact, because had we seen VP take on another side whip, but they could have very easily been making their way towards. So those quarterfinals, as you can see, the results of really were telling. I think the biggest one for me is the fact that we've not really seen Fnatic kick on. You know, they've made some changes again. You know, this is a roster where the core of that roster managed to win a major just over a year and a half, 2 years. Actually, it's 2 years ago now. That's how quickly time flies. But we've seen a lot of change. And yesterday's matchups, both of them were 2-0. I think if you watch both of the games, most people would agree that the two French sides, BDS and Wolves, were so strong, particularly on Bank. They look so dominant, and they sealed their way. They've got their initials etched onto those keys that they're going to get in Riyadh. But today we find out which of the two English sides, Secret or ITB, will be following them on their way to Riyadh.
This is a difficult one to call from our position. I know that we're both, I would say, fans of these rosters going into it, but it's been a difficult road for them. Secret getting that victory over Ents, then the defeat against BDS, now against ITB, a team that I still feel has a lot to prove. There's a lot of expectations on this UK side about how they can do. It's a very, very kind of relatively young team of players that made that step up not too long ago in the Tier 1 competitive play. I know their coach did inherit some of these players and has worked with a few of them outside that Tier 1 ecosystem for a while before, but they go head-to-head against Team Secret, and I think Secret, well, they have a point to prove with this one with a new pickup Virtue in their ranks.
Yeah, and when I'm going to let all the viewers at home in on a little secret, right? Casters have favorites. Casters have teams that they want to see do well. Casters have teams that, maybe not so much they want to see do well. For you and I, this is a matchup that I think is going to be really hard to watch, because for context, we came up through the Tier 3, Tier 4 ecosystem inside of, UKIN and a little bit of work inside of Germany, where we saw players like Azur and coaches like Kenny earn their stripes and their right to play in Tier 1. On the other side of the coin, the first ever international LAN event that you and I worked was alongside Twister, who's the head coach of Secret, and we want to see him do very well for himself as well. So either way, this is one of those games that's going to be happy, sad. We're going to be really happy for the winners and a little bit disappointed for the losers. But that just means that this game means so much as well, because as I said, these are players who 2 to 3 years ago, like us, were breaking their way into the scene in the T3, T4 ecosystem, and they have improved so much that now they're in a best of 3 to qualify for the biggest esports event in the world.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure for that and a lot to prove for these teams, but the big thing for me is how we saw both teams struggle on maps like Bank yesterday, and where that veto will bring us when we get to see where these teams do clash for it. Gibby, if you had to pick one map you want to see these teams go head-to-head to stylistically, what's it going to be?
You know what? I'd love to see them go head-to-head on Bank after what happened yesterday to both of these sides, to see who can make it up. Let's actually have a look at the maps in the pool to remind everybody of the veto and what we're going to see. So Whip It, we've got an idea what maps we're going to, and it will not be Bank, but we've got that teaser of a decider in there for Nighthaven Line Labs.
Yes, it is. I mean, listen, we have been basically through the entirety of Stage 1 begging teams in our home region of LATAM to play a little bit of Nighthaven Labs. We saw it once, so we're still not yet to get enough rounds to really test our casting on it, but we will see ITB picking up Clubhouse and I believe Border from Team Secret, yeah. So again, we saw ITB play Clubhouse yesterday. They were a very solid team, particularly on the attacking side. I enjoyed how they went through their basement executions. In particular, they did struggle on that side swap, and that's going to be an area of improvement needed for this. And Border, a map that I absolutely love watching teams go head-to-head on. The level of chaos this provides is absolutely perfect, and you know what, Gibby? This already, to me, looks like a perfect opening 2 maps at its best of 3.
It's going to be a lot of fun, and for the viewers at home, looking at Border, Into the Breach will be the attacking side to kick things off. Now, if you watched the games in North America last night, particularly the Dark Zero game against Sonics, Border was a very attacker-favoured map. We saw DZ essentially rush the site almost every single round. It was almost as if we were watching a completely different title than Siege. And it was a bit of a, almost like two heavyweights on attack, just punching each other in the mouth to see which one was going to fall first. Do you think, based on the coaching that these two teams have, that Border will be a little bit more tactical than what we saw in NA?
I think there's certainly that potential to it, but no matter how well laid your plans are, things do begin to fall apart when that first punch is thrown. And Border can be mapped that lends itself to a more chaotic team, and perhaps a team with a little bit more firepower. And in that regards, I do feel that Team Secret might have a little bit of an advantage. I mean, you think about players like Adrian and Zoom, who, if they're on, they are absolutely exceptional. I know Adrian is in a little bit more of a supportive role, typically on hard breach, but can make that rifle do a lot of work for this side. And Virtue certainly able to find those kills on the board as well.
That is the case, indeed. Well, we are about to jump into game number 1 of the day. Whip it, the bans are going to be fun, but these two sides with veteran players on either side of the board. You spoke about Virtue at Team Secret. You've got Kenny on the side of ITB. Two players who have won internationally will look to lead their young gunners going forward. The first ban, Whip it, what are you thinking? Are we going to see another Ying, Dokkaebi, ban on the attacking side, or do you see something a little different?
I wouldn't be against the Ying ban. I do see that, well, that is exactly what happens here. Now, the reason I'm going to see a Ying ban is because Border is a relatively small map, and a lot of these positions are tightly compacted. Candela is going to be even more impactful in those circumstances, and Glaz taken away from ITB, an unusual offensive ban to remove, but again, they're all long-range angles that you can utilize with that thermal scope in combination with smoke grenades as well. It can be difficult to deal with in those executions, so ITB have clearly seen something from Secret and want to remove that. Their first defensive ban will be that Valkyrie, and I'm not surprised in the slightest about that one.
Well, there's two sites in particular, Whip it, where glass can be used to execute armory lockers. We see lots of Monty plants where you get, your glass player on vents, or even when you go for a bathroom tech where you get your glass on the upside down rappel on that bathroom window. So it's very much a ban based on particular strats, as opposed to the impact that these teams have used that operator for in the past. But the other bans, no surprise to see Valk removed. Azami will always be gotten out of there as well. You think about how powerful Azami and Valk both can be with their cameras inside of security. But Whip it, the time for talking for the players is up, even though Oscar still has something to say to Groovy. But we're going to go to the top floor. Assume that we'll see top floor bathroom as the primary two sites over and over again, with a little bit of vents snuck in there as well. And the first thing I can spot is they've elected not to reinforce that triple wall in office. They've elected to create that rotate right by the east door.
With the ban of the Azami as well, that position will be just a little bit weaker. You do tend to see teams enjoy playing with those keeper barriers to extend a little bit of presence and pressure out towards these stairs. Sentry being brought out, of course, the new recruit rework in the hands of Doom. Just bring out a nitro cell, 2 sets of barbed wire, and a super shuri to help with these setups. And of course, if you're just joining in for the first time, or maybe you've not watched competitive Siege since the launch of the brand new season, barbed wire does now do tick damage if you step into it. And a little bit of tech there from Doom on top of the bomb chassis, just making himself nice and cozy for this one. Could be a factor later on if he's left unchecked.
Loads of times I myself have got myself on top of the lockers. I've never sprinted on top of the bomb chassis before though, so I'm curious as to how that'll work. Buck will enter the building nice and quickly below. The whole point of this will be to clear the player inside of security from below, and that's exactly what you'll see as he starts to buck in below Brazil. Brazil being that position you see Legion playing in right now, for those of you who might be new to competitive Siege esports. But yeah, you get Buck in below. You're going to try to get rid of as much of the floor as possible to force that Legion into a position where players on the balcony can get the kill.
Combination of Dokkaebi, Lion, and Amonte being brought out now for Into the Breach, and a very oppressive lineup to deal with. Amonte should realistically be able to buy that early map control for essentially free. Always going to be a little bit of a dilemma for a team to deal with that Monty, considering the shield change that arrived around 6 months ago. Dokkaebi will get that free information with logic bombs, 2 still remaining, and those Lion scans, a massive kind of stop guard for a team immobilizing the defense just for a fraction of a second. We do see that first logic bomb ringing out across the phones of Team Secret.
Yeah, no real roaming presence on the ground floor, so Buck is able to work with Lion to get as much verticality as possible as Monty begins now to push in towards Brick. Those goo mines will be a problem for Monty. You take that instant damage once more along with the tick damage. Legion will get spotted. Let's see how aggressive Kenny wants to be. You can see the silhouette on 90 as well. Some damage is dealt from down inside of East, and now Monty will turn up the pressure, and Kenny gets the opening kill of this matchup.
That just shows the danger of Monty since that shield rework. The lethality is much more increased than what we've previously seen. Now we do watch a trade-off happen. Creed's lost in that. All 3 Lion scans brought to the grave. A body left in DBNO. That will be Doom. Unsure if they know about this. Should be a free collection. They'll hear the body drop down the hatchet in the tellers. Should be a free collection of that one, and it is. Also gets the credit with that. Early advantage with this one. And, well, Kenny's going to get aggressive. A melee now is also going to clean up the mess from him as they get control of Archives, leaving it in a difficult position for the defensive secret to hold on to. The case should go down here in the hands of Nomad. A scrappy engagement of Fountain, but Noah wins that one out. And Virtue to C4 try and find a lifeline. But there's the strength of that shield. A very important influence that had as Kenny gets himself a second kill with that.
Was that a 3k actually? He got the
No,
Legion.
Oscar
he shot
the kill
him.
feed.
Yeah.
Got the confirmation. Now, it could have been a DVNO from the Monty shield, but Oscar did get the credit in the feed. But yes,
Yeah.
I mean, that's 3 engagements realistically won by the addition of the Monty shield being a factor. At some point, Kenny did shuffle away that diffuser, so perhaps I did think mid-round an adaptation was made to not go for a Monty plant. Perhaps they saw a weakness to just kind of play around the entry frags, and they done that fantastically, getting control of Brazil. Good round for ITV.
Look, if you're Kenny, you're claiming it, right? You're
Absolutely.
You're 2-0, but you're going to say you're 3. For people at home as well, who maybe haven't watched it a few months, Kenny is, of course, Kendrew, who has changed his name to the exact same as the team's coach, which makes it really easy for casters when we're talking about Kenny and Kenny on that side. But that is, of course, Kendrew, in case you were wondering at home. And, well, but I think he's got a very important role in this roster. Like, when you think about it, Noah's a pretty young player, came up through the T3, Tier 4 system. Oscar's the same. Azure came through that system. Creed's only new to the Tier 1 system, you know, in the past few months. So he really is the experienced head. And I know he's a very different player to the likes of Canadian, but I think he has to take on that role where he has to be, you know, that guidance for the younger players.
I would say it's definitely not a comparison I would make, but again, does bring that aspect of experience, of course. You think about this, you know, Kenny, a very kind of grandfathered in player, especially within the UK scene. Think back to the Pro League finals, and Tokonami got that victory with the then Navi side against Dark Zero. Funny you mentioned that comparison. But nonetheless, they have to deal with Team Secret now. They do lead by 1 the offense here on Border. You'd imagine this side will go in terms of advantage to the attacking side, and ITB have been clinical on that. We saw that displayed on Clubhouse yesterday against Wolves. Just the question, can they keep that up?
Information being gathered now. You can see this line's got, oh, there's a silhouette just on the other side of the wall, but Buck isn't going to get the bottom floor for free. Uh-oh, he will actually. Azure will pick up that kill on the Savage, who had no clue that Buck was nearby, and that just gives them so much control in the section map. And now that, you know, the logic bomb's going to be deployed, that'll feed even more information. Not to mention there was a jump out as well by Jum. Team Secret trying to get aggressive to look for the trade, but it just didn't come.
Logic Bomb rains out again. The 4 remaining bodies will get that position revealed. And Oscar on the hunt. SMG-12 is going to be a massive tool for him up close and personal. Verticality, a tool available to Adrian, standing above those rafter beams, just above the A chassis. Controlled though from ITB, a very lateral position from them. Not really committing to an upstairs clear yet. They have the book. The Skeleton Key can clear those positions. Noah gets stuck by those Legion mines, and the first or the second of those Lion scans goes out from Creeds.
Yeah, they've got so much control below, but a lot of this defensive presence is still playing on the verticality of this map. You can see those silhouettes. Noah's getting pinched here as Solace will swing, and Solace does get the DBNO cleared up by Groovy, but the case is going down in the middle of sight as Kenny will go for the execute. He's had a big game so far through the opening 2 rounds. Another DBNO as Kenny will get taken down by June, but we are now in a post-plant situation. It takes 7 seconds to defuse the case, which gives these players just about 23 seconds to get these kills, and well, Azur's the one finding them.
3 versus 3 position now. Most bodies wounded in this. Grubby swings wide and finds Azure. ITB reduced to 2 bodies to make this one stick, but Oscar will trade blows. Finding one more will be Creeds. It's all down the Virtue. A veteran of positions like this, but I likely not going to be able to get this one done. The wall bangs don't quite connect. So close on that silhouette and no avenue and no time left. So ITB do find their second round. The consolation prize will be the head of Creeds or Virtue. Well, the second round now for ITB. It starts so far for them here on Border.
And you think about that defensive lineup. If you're going to play with a heavy roaming presence on the top floor of Border, the players that you have on the ground floor need to stay alive. And you think back to maybe the Clubhouse game yesterday. If there's a really heavy roaming presence, sometimes the best way to attack a map is to just go directly through to site. ITB got the opening kill. They realized how much of the defenders were on the top floor. They pushed into site. They got the case down. It's really refreshing when you see teams look at what the other team is doing and actually play to counter it instead of sticking with the original plan that they had in mind.
It's a much harder thing to do, though, to play that fluid and adaptive style. ITB still going to be able to put that pressure on, and Secret are forced into that now. How can they raid into this? They will go to a third site. Completing that rotation, yet to get their opening victory on the defensive side. For context, of course, this is Team Secret's map pick. They opted to go to Border opening this series. I want to imagine they can get this job done. ITB showed a great showing against Wolves on Clubhouse, which will be our second map. Already, you got to think about the long road here, and we're only 2 rounds in.
It's going to be a long one anyway. You feel like this should go all the way to Nighthaven when you look at the way these two sides have played. Bathroom will be the site of choice this time, and well, ITB, contrary to the way they attacked the last round, they're going to go to establish vertical control once more with the Monty, and they've definitely realized with it that when they want to attack certain sites and they need verticality, they've shown that they've got a real preference to put Kenny on the Monty to help them take ground rather quickly.
I mean, the Monty is such a valuable tool to teams. It's why we see the shield ban so prevalent in regions like Brazil, like Latin America, just because it can be used to take space, and the extra lethality it brings can be difficult to break down. ITB, 4 drones lost so far, 2 minutes left in that round, and the Monty just standing menacingly on the East Stairs balcony, waiting to get that control. Waiting for information, perhaps, that it will be cleared to press forward. Looking for a way in, and ITB a little bit more methodical in this approach. I'll hear that Legion, at least the deployment of that Goo-mine. Oscar poised for that as the logic bomb does ring out, providing a vague insight of information positioning these Team Secret bodies, and that Saria Gate does get reactivated. Now the problem to solve for ITB. Secret playing a little bit more passive this time around, not giving an opening for that opening pick.
But as passive as Secret are being, look at ITB, every single player is still outside the building. Remember, if you look at the overlay on the bottom right, you can see the position of every single player. Nobody's in the building yet, and Savage is going to get a quick double with the SMG-11. Noah and Kreese falls, and now that Monty can become a bit more of a hindrance for ITB than a helpful factor whenever you do lose a couple of players. Benrear getting some information as well. He'll just get out of dodge, falling back towards site now, leaving ITB with lots through. But Whippet, a minute left, and Kenny is the only player in sight. Or in building.
Very quickly joined by Azur in that position. The second logic bomb goes out. Dokkaepi's primary utility now being expended. Quickly answered by Doom. And you mentioned, though, the fact that Monty does have that shield, lacks a rifle, perhaps lacking firepower. Certainly is lethal up close and personal, but closing that distance might be a problem, especially considering the variety of Legion mines scattered around the map in these high traffic areas. And ITB need to find an engagement to go their way. Needed to be untraded. Final Selma charge tossed out as well. Throw is good. Will open up that single wall underneath these stairs. The amount of bodies stacked up in Workshop will make this difficult, and blinded by fear for a split second as more bodies stuck by those Legion mines as Kenny slowed down drastically from it. It's going to be a scrap inside a bathroom. He'll find one, can't make good in the second as Doom finding 2 of his own. All down to Azur alone, 5 seconds. And he won't last too long as Grubby upstairs shuts him down. And Secret get themselves a very first round here on the defense of Border.
Yeah, and it was probably a better style of round for the way Team Secret normally play. They didn't get as aggressive. They didn't give ITB easy opening picks. And you can kind of see whenever they didn't feed ITB, it stalled them out. They didn't really know how to progress to that next phase of their offense whenever they weren't able to get that free kill from Team Secret. Now, I know that we didn't catch the double kill that was captured by Savage, but that had a big impact as well. As we said, it removes a lot of the benefits that Monty has when you are playing down against the numbers. But this is the site where we saw ITB dominate in the first round whenever they were able to take it on the top floor. Monty was used to clear inside a CCTV. We saw Buck go in below and, you know, try to move that Legion around. The question now with it is, do Team Secret extend down to the ground floor? You know, you can already see that Solace is down there, Savage with the shotgun. I think that you have to contest ground floor a little bit more if you know that Buck is going to be brought by ITB.
ITB do indeed bring that Buck again. They will pick away from the ace, meaning there is no primary source of hard breach utility for this side. Likely not going to be the primary focus of it, but that does mean the double wall does remain intact. And we do see, of course, in that utility lineup in the bottom right-hand side of your screen, there is no, on the top right-hand too, there is no secondary hard breach utility available for ITB. And an aggressive run out there from Adrian, finding Oscar early. DMR in the hands of Tubarao, very lethal at that range. And just like that, Udokabe's off the board. 2 logic bombs in the grave early.
Yeah, the logic bombs have been removed. Those impact EMPs as well, although you can see by the lineup they wouldn't really have the largest amount of impact on this round. But Oscar for sure is a loss. 4 kills so far as he's been carrying the blunt of the brunt of the damage. A little bit of damage dealt onto Kenny as he looks to work his way in towards break room. Same sort of idea as last time. Get yourself into CCTV security. Try to force an easy first pick Fenrir. Gotta be careful. Noah will find a trade as Savage does fall. But look at this damage being dealt. But Kenny's a little bit trapped. And look at that, a quick double kill. Jim and Groovy getting 1 apiece. It's a 3v2.
A lot of pressure now on the shoulders of Noah. Even more so now, well, very quickly the round deteriorates just like that. The takings out of break room CC didn't get anywhere. A lot of bodies sacrificed in the effort for it, and we will see everything tied up 2 rounds apiece. Team Secret did read into the fact that a multiplay was going to be very prevalent. Now, there wasn't as much success with the Buck down below, and again, you got to consider the fact that Adrian spawn peaked so early disrupted the flow of ITB, meaning they didn't have key utilities such as those 2 logic bombs to get that early insight, that vague position awareness of where the defenders of Secret were lurking. So a massive pick from Adrian, kind of spiraled from there, control of CC and break room. That mid-round or early round adaptation called by ITB didn't work the way they wanted, and we now find that advantage. Early days gained from ITB, neutralized Team Secret, bring us level.
They made 3 changes, Team Secret, to or 2 changes at least to the way they played that site as well, with the presence on the ground floor being utilized to make life harder for the Buck. And the bigger change, I suppose, was keeping 2 players inside of security as opposed to 1, which meant that if the Monty did force his way in, that he wouldn't be able to push as aggressively up onto the player and get the kill. So good adaptation from Team Secret. Round 5 is a big swing round for these 2 teams now. We go back down towards Vents, and last time when we went to Workshop Vents, we saw them push directly to site from the ground floor. And again, look at the positioning of all those defenders. Only Oryx on the ground floor. Well, now joined by Sauce, but a lot of pressure once more on the top floor.
They're committing the entirety of this hold realistically to having that verticality around the bomb site. You see 1 blue silhouette lurking out by Customs. Observation blocker not quite doing its job there. 1 Bravo drone sacrificed for default camera. That won't last too long, I'd imagine. Tossed out to try and get more information. Azure does find the opening engagement. That will be Savage off the board, waving goodbye to your Solace. And considering the Solace was the lifeline for Secret the previous time of this site, a massive pick as Oscar will find 1 more. Oryx now Adrian off the board. Great start from ITB so far, but can they manage this round? Can they keep things untraded? Dangerous gambit right triple wall, but the silhouette's crossing the night. The air jab is perfect. It erupts, causing a bit of chaos, but June will find 1. Noah falls to that C4. ITB need to be careful here. It can swing in favor of Secret, just like that, where it brings it level, but Kenny does find that trade. Advantage back with ITB.
Yeah, took a little bit of damage back the other way, but once more we're seeing ITB getting the majority of their kills from external positions. 2 players inside break room as Groovy will find Creeds back to a 2v2, but look at the HP. Kenny on 20, Groovy on 3, so it is essentially a kill or be killed situation for him now. The Brava, you know, didn't really get much use out of that one, but I feel like looking at the logic bomb count they've used both already, it's going to be very difficult for these 2 attackers, provided the defenders play off each other's contact.
They've got very limited utility. Very, very limited utility to make this one stick. They've got a combination of 3 flashbangs, 2 smokes to work with. Both kind of low on drones. Information will be a premium. Kenny on 20 HP as well. Countered out a little bit by the fact that Groovy is on 3 points of HP himself. Difficult gunfights ahead. Sub 1 minute to work with. 50 seconds. Case in the hand of Kendra. How will they try and make this one stick? Legion's been spotted out. Force the rotation away. Might buy some space to drop in to get that initial control. But ITB will play this patiently, knowing they can't rush in. This round is still anyone's to get victory over. Flashbang's out. They'll drop in. They do read the rotations. Falling out of sight is Secret. They do spot the player behind the desk. This is a must-win encounter and does so. Oscar's huge for it and they'll pull off that plant. Trying to bait a rotation from Virtue. And this is where the experience is a factor. Virtue has been here so many times but blinded by that flashbang. Making best use of what limited utility that they have. Virtue needs to win that engagement. Can't quite find enough shots to do so with both bodies wounded, but Oscar will find himself a 3rd. Virtue falls. And ITB get their they get their 3rd round here on Border.
Yeah, really well played by the 2, as you said. They read the rotation perfectly and were able to isolate that player playing inside of that, you know, lobby area. And now Virtue was in that 1v2, very difficult to win. If you're watching from home though, ITB looking pretty good, but this is a map where, as we saw in North America last night, the attackers do tend to have the advantage. I'm very impressed by ITV's ability to get so many opening picks and to get so many kills without even entering the building. But is that a question of Team Secret playing too aggressive, looking to get that opening pick too hard, and giving kills to ITV for free?
Oh, it's a difficult one to see, to judge initially from that. I think Secret have kind of played, kind of on your point, they've played a mixture of sitting very reserved and passive, then going out to hunt engagements. And I think that was one of those rounds where they went out trying to win that opening pick, as you mentioned, and they didn't just lose out to ITB. Still, very difficult round for both those teams. Massive plays made by Joom C4, Grubby finding 2. Made it a difficult 2 versus 2 at the end, and again, Virtue, never a player you want to count out in those moments. A bit of a hold your breath and see position. The lead does go back to the offensive side. UK team leading so far against Secret.
I want to watch this round closely because this is the final attack from ITB, and every single round we've seen, unless they get an opener very early, they do not enter the building until at least a minute is gone. So they're looking for those easy opening picks. Now, that tells you that they've got a real game plan here. The first minute, the first third of the game, it's all about getting into these good positions, looking for information, trying to find free kills. The second minute is then where they try to get a little bit of presence inside the building, but this time with it, they are upping the tempo that little bit. One of those soft impacts being utilized. Are we going to see a rush through? Is Kenny thinking? They're thinking about it.
They're definitely wanting to take control fast. I don't know if a rush is going to be the right word for a Gibby, but they will use that explosion through that breach charge to likely take that control at a rather rapid pace. They've done so.
He's in.
Walk through square. Has a lot of control here, a lot of pressure aboard, and this is going to be what I like to say a dilemma. This is not a problem. There's multiple ways to solve a problem, and well, they do that quickly. Grubby was going to be able to get that credit. No cover to deny that pressure and break room. Perhaps a blind spot of information. I like the vision for ITB. Execution just wasn't there for them, and the early advantage does sit with Team Secret now.
Oh, you just know that Kenny's eyes lit up for the second when he spotted the isolated castle, but thankfully for Castle, some help was able to arrive with Groovy, finding that kill. Jim gets another 5-3 as we look destined to travel to a 3-3 opening half here on Border. You look at the positioning, one player up on the top floor. That's Oscar as he just creeps his way through office. The hatch is open, which will give him access towards the site. You can hear that he does have those nomads in the distance to give him a little bit of cover, a little bit of a flank watch. But with a minute left to go, Secret cruising in this round.
All Secret need to do is let the map and the timer do everything for them. 2 players up with this moment. ITB a lot to do. 2 Flores drones and just a set of flashbangs on each player. That's all they have to work with. They'll drop in the bathroom. That's going to be Oscar. Doesn't win his one. Virtue gets that one. Creed's there for the trade, but doesn't last too long. Virtue selects his second. Now down to the 4 versus 1. And Creed's an exceptional player. Everyone's seen that raw talent, but against 4 players like Secret, just feels too much of asking. 20 seconds. It will be an agonizing one, as this round should go for Team Secret. He'll be stuck by that Legion mine. And we begin to think about this, Gibby, it looks likely that we're going to go have a 3-3 half, almost guaranteed at this point, and Savage will do so. All level, moving into that one. Team Secret, their map choice. You think they might have the advantage now it's reset to level?
I think with the benefit that attackers have on this map, I think Team Secret will be happy enough, particularly with the fact that they started so poorly here on Border. When I look at the way the game has played out, there's not really been any surprises so far. I think ITB are playing the very passive game in the opening stages of the round, you know, trying to get those kills from external positions, but Team Secret managed to claw it back. But when you look at the game so far, though, I feel like ITB are winning most of the 50-50 gunfights. Team Secret are pulling off a lot of big plays, though, when they need them.
I have to say I agree with you. I mean, you got to think about that round. The Groovy basically clawed back, finding that 2k on the Bandit, or the Fenrir I should say, was very effective for it. One player I will like to highlight though is I'm very happy with Noah's performance so far in this game, able to pop up and find high impact frags across the board. And ITB, the vision for what they want to do on this map has been brilliant so far. You see every single part of the plan and what they want to put together, and it just hasn't been, I think, as efficient on the execution. That round that we just saw where they wanted to breach in aggressively with that Monty in the square, they had no control of Breaker, denied that take on Rafters, and that left them exposed for it. Just, I think, a little bit of a blind spot for them. But again, corrections can't be made as side swaps happened. Round 7. Often what I say is one of the most valuable rounds for a team. Let's see who can adapt fastest. Flores drones from Zoom will begin that long process of clearing away utilities such as those Goyo mines. And realistically, just those Goyo canisters and maybe even a Frostmark if they can find one. Virtue, opening pick, that's Azure off the board.
Yeah, and that's from an external position again, as most of these opening engagements have been so far in this matchup. But as you can see, the utility is getting to work. Twitch and Flores, so much destructive ability from those 2 drones. The ability to bleed away defensive utility and gather information while you're doing it. But look at this. Creeds gets aggressive on that window on top of balcony. And there's the upside down repel. Creed's got the audio key, finds another. But it's back to a 3-3. Noah will find Jum as the defenders take the advantage. It's Adrian with a DBNO Virtue to work alongside, but the player should know that there's a DBNO. There's the C4 and Oscar rounds it out. ITB take the first round on defense.
I mean, that's what I like to see from teams on Border on that defense. You play basically a high line. You want to be aggressive and stop that entry being as easy as it was. Secret let ITB enter, and I think that was a little bit of a detriment. Perhaps ITB felt they had too much space on the attack and took their time. But ITB inverse here on the defense. They're peaking everything they need to. They're taking those fights, and Secret will find themselves under pressure in this moment. So can they bounce back from this? But again, this is what I love about ITB. You go from, 6 rounds of a very strategic, slow-paced matchup, a type of siege you can almost describe as a game of chess, and all of a sudden, they go, well, it's time to play aggressive, let's take our gunfights, let's win our fights. Oscar, Noah, massive performance in that round, finding 2 apiece.
We're also seeing the new rework recruit on the defensive side for ITB. Remember, for people at home, he gets to bring 2 sets of utility, the barbed wire and the beepers being deployed. So now we're talking about it, right? That is the new recruit's ability. Their ability is they can take 2 sets of that defensive utility as opposed to having a unique ability. Thinking situationally, do you feel like Border is a map that kind of suits that type of operator with it, where you can get away with having 4 unique abilities plus 2 sets of secondary utility, or do you feel like we're still yet to discover the perfect usage for that new recruit?
I certainly do see there's a level of potential here to bring out. I mean, it's going to be 2 proximity alarms, 2 sets of barbed wire.
It's all information.
I mean, it's taking the more boring sets of utility, realistically, going, okay, and meaning maybe you can save the likelihood of having to bring something on Goyo. It allows you to have that extra bulletproof camera, the impact nades on your OMI, for example. But it does relieve and maybe give a little bit of a better pick of that secondary utility across the board. As Azza does find the opening. Savage first to fall. Savage found himself on both ends of that opening engagement several times in this matchup so far. This time, will be the first to fall. And you have that buck off the board. Skeleton Key will not be able to pick the lock for this round. Left into the grave early. And Suppressed Commando up close on the balcony. Dangerous gambit to play on these stairs. Lion's Gang goes out. Oscar does get tagged by it. You feel that pressure now, but are they going to look the right way? Yes, they are. And if I was that recruit, I'd back away, but the cover from Noah is good. Adrian does pick up Creed's. Advantage, though, still sits within the breach.
That's a big pickup by Adrian, but it's still a 3 versus 4 situation. Utility, not in too bad of a position. 3 death marks still available for Deimos to use to get information on 3 of those 4 defenders that are still left alive, as Virtue's just very cautious about entering into the building now with the amount of damage his team has taken already. One positive, health points for both these players looking, or all 3 of these players looking pretty good, but as you can see, that silhouette inside of security might just be a problem, as Noah going 4 and 5, a great defensive split few rounds for him so far, looks to keep the pressure on, but whip it and executes.
They're getting the case down.
Okay,
Little bit against the rhythm of things. Adrian just walks into sight. And ITB found, or we should say, Team Seeker find that weakness. Deimos is good for it. Dreams cover finds one, but shut down quickly by Azur. All down now to Adrian alone.
He's behind you.
Oh, he gets it. Adrian finds his second in the round and reduces this position into a 1 versus 1. The Vector, though, up close and personal, not a weapon you want to gamble with. He'll swing out wide, but the ARX hits a little bit harder. And Adrian finds the headshot and the round. Team Secret trade back 1 on the offensive side here.
Man, I love it. Just Adrian and Creed's having such a good game against each other is something that I love. Remember, we monikered these 2 the Spin Twins. They used to play, ranked together all the time. They've both just edged into tier 1 in the past 12 months.
I believe Creed's even baited you several times in ranked.
Creed baits me every time in ranked, right? Creed's has droned more times in this matchup alone than he droned in the entire year that I played ranked with him. I swear. Like, I'm not even...
Gibby, if you jump in a window and die, then we know there's someone there. I think that's a valid use.
Well, on the bright side, at least when Creed's baits me, he usually gets the trade. We'll give him that.
Doesn't look great. At least you're getting costs, but I don't think the MMR takes that one into account.
Yeah. Like you have major, like invitational major grand finals. We can have brothers on opposite sides, as we have with FaZe. Take FaZe anytime they play the Furia roster.
There you go.
But we've also got the Spin Twins. Come on, we gotta give the Spin Twins some love as well.
Indeed. Anyway,
which of them beat you most in ranked?
I'm retired from the ranked grind, Gibby. I don't...
If you've been baited by teammates in ranked, you can get some support. Make sure to message Whip It on Twitter and let them know who baited you, why they baited you. Support is available.
If you are looking for a Team Liquid skin code, Gibson does have 63 of them to give away. You DM him for one of those. He gave me one. It looks great. So...
I've only got 1 left. I bought 61 accounts so I could get them all on my name.
Good to know. I like that for you, Gibby. All on Marketplace in 6 months, I guarantee it with you. So, diving into it now, with 2 minutes left to go, so early days in this round. You are level 4 rounds apiece. And this is going to be what I say is a very typical ITV matchup. Again, it's a team that will not win by great margins, but they always find a way to win. It's a very slow-paced, methodical matchup between these sides. As I mentioned earlier, near describable as a game of chess. You don't want to make a single mistake. That opening engagement has often been the deciding factor, and it will be Adrian who does find Creed's early. Spin Twins strike again. There will be advantage for Team Secret now, leading by 1 player.
Oh, and there's an extra kill. Yep, Virtue manages to find that one. Little bit of damage dealt as there was an attempt at a trade coming through from Noah, but will not be found. 5 versus 3. As you can see, Habana is very low on HP right now, but not really any defensive traps in position that he could fall afoul of. So in reality, it will have to be the barrel of a gun that will take him down. But this is a great start to the round for Team Secret as they look to take advantage. And by getting that great start with it, it buys them time now to get into that secondary drone phase and start working out where the soft points of this defense are.
ITB still not out of this yet. We look at the utility, how available to them. MP5K in the hands of Omai can certainly be a vital tool to get those picks back, but Kenny on the Solus can provide critical information. Kirby makes things a little bit harder now for a comeback on ITB's side. Finding that pick on the Noah. 5 versus 2. Difficult day in the office, it feels. As they're just staring up on those beams. Spots one player crossing over. Has that discipline just to wait. One body drops from that hatch and Azur gets it. Patience is there. Virtue, and Kenny finds one more. This round is very much winnable. But Savage makes it a difficult one. And blinded in the office inside of Customs. Virtue will pick up Kenny. And we will see Team Secret take the lead yet again here on Border.
And it's what you expect. Remember, Border is a map that does seem more often than not to favour the attacking sides, and that will force the coach Kenny to call for a timeout to speak to his team. And you know what? I like the timeout at 5-4 instead of waiting to a potential situation when Team Secret had 6 rounds. It gives you a little bit of wiggle room. But look at Virtue up at 8 and 6. I want to remind the viewers at home, after SI and all of last year, Virtue was playing some of the best Siege that he had ever played in his career. Then they made some changes at G2, they changed up some roles, and I feel like Virtue and Benja weren't really given the opportunity to show what they could do when you think back to that SI run. This is more the stat line you expect from Virtue when you look at the roles that are being used in this team.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I'll speak with candor for a moment. It's just crazy to think that Virtue was left off that team from G2. One of the most talented players who's been in the European region. Experience is going to be a massive tool for Team Secret. He's not had, I would say, a standout game yet for the side, but he's always been kind of able to have an impact round after round. And so that one continues to play. If they can grow their advantage, get themselves a map point, of course. Border chosen by Team Secret in the ban phase. Let's see if they can make good off their map choice. Get an early lead in this best of 3 series.
Yeah, Team Secret, this is such a big round for them. If they can just get to map point here and now, it gives them not only a numerical advantage on the scoreboard that's bigger than it is right now, but that psychological impact as well with it when you consider that ITB have used their timeout already. You always tend to see a team win the next round post taking a timeout, so let's see if they change anything up or whether Kenny just did that to reset the mental and just calm the team down a little bit.
One thing I'll say though, and I'll circle back to your point there, Gibby, because I know you got a lot to say about how timeouts are used, but you know, you want to see teams win after the timeout. They don't often. It's not as common as you want to hope so for lots of teams. So hopefully ITB can be one of those conversions. But you mentioned that it might have been used more as a mental break for his side. I know when you spoke to some coaches, I mean, Kangaroo Kenny was one of them. I believe call out from SSG was another one that you spoke to. Often a timeout can be used, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'll paraphrase some quotes here, that can be used just as that pause, that break to stem momentum. They act as that reset for a side.
Oh yeah, when I spoke to some of the coaches, you know, like call out, like Groovy finds the opener on the creeds, they were just talking about the fact that sometimes you don't even need to speak in the timeout, it's just to slow everything down. You know, tactically the team might be doing things that you want. They just need a little bit of a slowdown in the tempo. So opening pick for Team Secret now. They're looking to bait the second one. As you see the Chrome, Noah will find the trade, and you know what, that's a good smoke because it clears up the window and it buys Azur a little bit more space to move into, and Oscar gets a nice kill onto Adrian, and that makes things a little bit more difficult now for Secret.
Secret trailing by a player again. They've not made successful or major inroads to this. Azur is wounded though, left with a single point of all 9 points of HP to his name. One bullet.
That's as good as a single point.
It is. I mean, one bullet will be enough to take him out of the fight. Both Talon shields still available in the hands of Osso, played by Joom. A lot of utility those bring, and that's going to be basically a no-go zone for any defenders. You can't cross this. It's so difficult to deal with. They have one impact remaining, I believe. No, actually no impact. They do have 2 nitros to work with, but still, Can't clear that shield with relative ease. That will be a problem. But Secret need to get one traded back. Lion scans might be a useful tool to get that. Just wondering what that thought process will be now, how they can break this round down. Only one smoke canister, so they might be able to try and force the case down behind the shields that they brought up by the Osa.
Yeah, you know, you think about, it looks like that's what the plan could potentially be. More of those toxic beam canisters being utilized here with no real value being gathered, but they do have the shield down. That fire is going to burn for 30 seconds, and the C4 from Oscar with one more still in the pocket of the team will have an impact, but that leaves it all down to Virtue. 8 and 6 as things stand, and well, he's in a 1v4 into the breach doing exactly what was required. It looks like they've won. They won. Let's see if we can get any exit frags. No, we can't. Noah will get the kill, and ITB level the sides once more, but we're going to see every single round in regulation.
Yep, this has been a matchup where no team can find any daylight between each other, and this is a much better showing from what we saw ITB do while they were great in their matchup yesterday against Wolves. They just managed, I think they let Wolves get distance between them, and it made a difficult day for them. They're able to keep in that touching distance and keep fighting back from it. As you mentioned though, all 12 rounds will be needed here in our opening map. Can Team Secret find a way to get themselves on a map point here? Of course, their map choice. They want to win it. Always want to have that advantage. Lot to play for here. This was, again, for their final spot to make it to the Esports World Cup in 3 weeks' time. Earn your key. Only one more place to do so.
Remember, if you get spare time between maps, look up the key system. It's phenomenal. It's one of the coolest things we've seen inside of esports. But this is the big round now, round 11. Which of these sides will get that singular map point inside of regulation? Mira being brought out here late into the game by ITB. And will we see much value from that Spanish operator? Elsewise, not too much too surprising. Castle being brought. We're seeing that new rework recruiting there, Warden and Wamai. On the attacker side, Robert, may I draw your attention to Jum playing on the Blitz?
It's very much the duality of the shield operators that we see him play going out to it. The more methodical approach that the Monty brings, and the absolute turmoil and pace that a Blitz has for the side. Tends to work out more as a shock and awe operator, buys that space aggressively. A great tool if you have the opening to utilize it to its maximum potential. Warden will be a massive counterplay for it, if Oscar remembers to turn on those goggles in the right timing. I've seen that too many times, Gibby. Alas, the round's still early days and unsure about what the kind of final shape this execution is going to look like. Blitz will definitely be a part of it if they survive that long.
And remember, last time we came to this site, even though there were down numbers, Team Secret vaulted in that window of bathroom and went for the execute. Now, Jim's positioning, or where he enters the building, will be very telling on what the plan might be. Now, you can see those silhouettes. You can see the castle. They want Team Secret to dismantle this map piece by tiny piece. Are we going to get a vault into that office one? Did I say? Well, that'll certainly help Team Secret as Savage finds first blood. And here we go. Here's the Blitz. Forces the drop down the hatch. And you know what? But that isn't bad. Because even though you don't get the kill, you've cleared the space.
They have that space. Didn't have to commit to a significant gunfight for it either. Noah is off that board, as I mentioned. Am not going to be a factor in this, but that Blitz doesn't last too long. As they're finding two. Great rotation. Creed gets into the action as well. Adrian falls, and Oscar with one more. Virtue off the board. Groovy alone. Finds one. Might be a consolation prize. That's Oscar's scalp taken. And the case is cold. Lot of work to do. But a lot of time to find an opening. Never say never in a game like Siege. ITB, they'll play reserve, they'll fall back the site. Really not wasting any time. Needs to win that fight against Creed, but can't find the shots on ITB. Map point here on border. Can they take their opposition's pick right here, right now? Or does Secret have one more round to force overtime in them?
Or do we even see Secret use that tactical timeout? Because it doesn't look like Twister's made any moves to do so. This is, as you pointed out, Team Secret's map pick. This is the map they felt more...
there it is.
There we go. You know what? We always say Twister takes the earliest timeouts. He made us wait till there was like 3 seconds left on the pick phase for the final round in regulation to call that timeout. But you know what? That could be clever. It buys them a little bit of time to talk as a team before the coach gives his say.
I mean, the realistic thing for this is the Team Secret need to find a way to, when they get the early advantage, like they did with Noah, is to continue to cascade off of that. I mean, we've seen a couple of times that both teams have let the early advantage slip away. That does show that there is a kind of a massive bounce back factor on both these teams. But right now for Secret, either we're going to see two things from this team. They're going to be a lot more aggressive, or they're going to slow it way, way down. I think those are going to be difficult ones to break down for ITB.
Early signs. So obviously they're going to pick operators at the start based on what their plan for the round is on attack, and then as they drone it out and work out where the site is, you'll see those repicks coming through. So you take Havana, you think about how impactful it is to open up hatches if they're going to be reinforced. You know, you look at Dokkaebi, picked in almost every single round in this game so far, the impact that DMR has, along with the information game that you get from those logic bombs. But Groovy is going for the Ash. If they need an opening pick, Groovy needs to be the player to find that this time around. Playing on that operator needs to get tons of value, but I think the best bit of value that they're going to get with it is the Mira. Getting rid of those.
Gibby. Look at what I've just seen Savage pick onto.
Amaru, let's go.
Now, Amaru is, again, one of these great little pocket strategies that you can use on a map like Border, considering that they likely want to go through a window or maybe even use it to get control of that verticality early, as that's going to be a massive factor from the defensive side of ITB. We can see early from these silhouettes, there are only two, or actually only one body of the defensive side is down below, and that's going to be an interesting one if they decide to hit site aggressively early in this round, or force rotations as they still hear some shotguns going off to get that final bit of setup done. Flashbang sent out early to get some pressure on the player instead of CCTV. They'll fall back, though. My magnets were great at burning away that utility and getting a little bit of extra comfort. Great drone network from Secret. They're aware of those threats, but one body sneaking up aggressive on break room behind the half wall, protected by it. C4 out and to no avail. Utility gone from ITB. One of the only two C4s available to them.
Information gathered as well. You know now that there's a presence inside of break room. Now, the longer this round goes on, the more interested I am as to where Savage goes in. Now, if he's going to go in a window, the only real one that you'd think about it being a possibility would be through that locker's window. But as you can see with the silhouette in the distance, there is a player on half wall. So get those nomads out. Try to make sure that you cannot get flanked. And I think, yeah, they're getting ready to go in that window. But if you don't clear half wall with it, this could be really problematic for Savage.
What they're going to do is, I think they're going to go through sandwich window and use that to clear half wall. That's exactly what they're going to do now. He got the SMG-11 ready for it. He sends it in. He knows the player's there, and the shotgun's good for it. And that gives them an opening to vault on in. But it will be ITB to fire back the trade-off of two. Oscar and Noah finding those picks and make it a second one now for Noah. Savage forced to drop and play aggressive inside a server. Rotates out of sight. Ruby finds one back. Still a player trailing in numbers. Default camera remains and relays that information back to the squad. The vertical player is going to shut this one down. Savage goes to the repeat, but slain by Azur. All now down to Groovy on the Ash. Finding one. Two more to go, Gibby. 50 seconds, certainly a doable job.
It's doable. No case. The case is on the top floor, as are one of those defenders. So he's got a decision to make pretty quickly. Do you try to get the case and go for the execute, or do you play for the kills? You can see that Creeds is hyper fixated on the fact that the presence could be below. No cameras means that unless Creeds unless he walks through that, you know, metal detector, his position will not be revealed. 20 seconds now. It's becoming a bit of a problem. He's going to drop the hatch. He's making a lot of noise, but I think this is it. They're not going to peek. They're not going to give him the free kill. And just like that, ITB should and will take the first map against Team Secret.
ITB have it done. You wrote their eulogy for Team Secret, and that's what happens here on Border. Map choice of Team Secret goes to the rivals. ITB launched themselves with a 7-5 victory here in this final qualifying best of 3. And a great performance from them. I like the vision though from Team Secret to play much more aggressive on that final round. They had confidence to go for the Maru play, and it was a very well thought out approach. Didn't quite connect in that mid to late round. A great bounce back from ITB. We've seen both these teams test each other to the absolute limit. All 12 rounds needed. But into the breach. Get that early dub.
Yeah, and I want to give a lot of credit to Oscar. He was phenomenal on that game, particularly with those mid-round kills that opened up opportunities for ITB, both on attack and on the defense, picking up the overall MVP in that first map. But for Team Secret, but it's as simple as this. You've got to win your the second map. Now you got to go to Clubhouse and take down ITB, or else ITB will be going to Riyadh. Little bit of a spit of information for the viewers at home.
Ooh.
ITB will be starting that map on attack again. So whip it. Before we close out the first map and jump into that break, any final statements?
While ITB do start on the attack, which is where they looked much stronger on a map like Clubhouse, they played this yesterday. They showed their vision, and there is a VOD available to it. And Twister and JP, the support staff of Team Secret, would have watched it, knowing that it's a very popular map for this team to bring out. So they definitely can use that to counter shot against them and bring this series level and force our hand all the way to Nighthaven Labs.
Well, we will find out soon. We're going to jump into a quick break. When we come back, it'll be the second map of this best of 3, Team Secret against ITB on Clubhouse, coming right up.
$60 million!
You've been seeing that a lot, right? What does it all mean, though? Here's my friend Alex Machine Richardson to help explain.
So, 60 mil, 20 tournaments, 8 weeks. You probably already know. But how does a club prove themselves to be the very best in the world? That is where the Esports World Cup Club Championship comes in. The Club Championship is where things really heat up. $20 million awarded to the top 16 clubs, with the newly crowned best club in the world awarded an astonishing $7 million.
Wait, so how does that actually work?
It's simple. We've got 20 tournaments. In each tournament, the top 8 teams get awarded points towards their club championship total. The higher you place, the more points you get. Now, these points are worth the same in all titles, so it is important to not put all of your eggs in one basket. But it's important to remember that the club champion needs to win at least one individual game tournament.
Nice, so we'll probably be seeing clubs trying to qualify across a range of games to have the best chance of getting their hands on $7 million.
Yeah, man, there's your incentive. More clubs, across more games, more competition.
And so the race begins. This summer, we will crown the best esports club in the world.
Welcome back in, everyone, to the Esports World Cup, and this is the final qualifier for the European region. Either ITB or Team Secret will be going to Riyadh at the end of the month, and well, up at ITB certainly have their foot a little further ahead, having taken the first map.
They certainly do. Of course, they get a 7-5 victory on Border, the map choice of Team Secret coming into this series. And to me, that's a very interesting dynamic going into, considering we did see ITB play on Clubhouse yesterday against Wolves, a very strong offensive side from them. Now, it did fall away on the defense side from ITB. We won't have to wait too long to try and get into this one, Gibby. Ban phase, how do you think this one's going to play out?
I think we'll see the Ying ban once more. It'll be no surprise there. Dokkaebi was used heavily by both sides on a map like Clubhouse. You could also see that removed. I think you have to look at the usual suspects, Valk, Azami, etc. on the defense because of the impact they can have. First ban will be that Ying. Will it be followed up by that Dokkaebi? I would say so.
I'd imagine so. It would make a lot of sense to me if these teams are going to evolve into towards that series, and it's actually going to be a Maverick ban coming out here.
What do you caster men know?
Oh, yeah, I know. I mean, listen, this is going to be the same story. I think ITB are going to stick to the structure that they brought out when they played Wolves yesterday. I believe this was their ban as well going into it, and that was in combination with the Habana ban. Yes, okay. So ITB, same bans coming out yesterday when they played Clubhouse. So again, if I'm Team Secret looking at this, and they would have done their research, they would have done their preparation, they've seen the same two bans, they're likely going to expect the same strategy coming into it, and I'm going to be intrigued to see if we'll see a counterplay for it. Now, ITB looked very, very solid attacking sites like CCTV and Cash, and that basement did struggle a little bit when they were attacking gym and bedroom. So the question will be if they can amend those mistakes, or can Team Secret compound any issues perhaps they saw. Habana will be available this time around, so imagine ITB will have a little bit of an easier time breaking through some of those hard breach fortresses like those hatches. Kaid might be a factor for it.
I think struggle with it's a bit of an understatement for the way that those defense rounds went for ITB in that matchup. So for Team Secret, they need to be pretty good on their defense. Don't let ITB get that head of steam, that head of momentum going into this first round. As always, you'll see extending all the way up to the top floor. You reinforce this wall, just meaning that if you are playing a roaming presence on the top floor, that you don't have to worry about getting caught going down those main stairs later in the round by this wall being open. So it makes a lot of sense. You want to force ITB to invest a lot of time, a lot of resources into clearing the rest of the map. Now, counter that with it, we did see ITB go directly down Dirt and Blue yesterday and go for a quick execute on one of those extended roams in their game.
They saw that potential. Again, that mid-round call coming out from their IGL to make that decision was very critical to it. One thing that I will kind of mention here is that we do see ITB, we saw it yesterday on their attacks as well, be a little bit like not using the Thatcher. Considering that a Kaid's made it through the ban phase, you'd imagine a Thatcher would make your life a little bit easier to get control of those hatches in Moto, in Kitchen, in Supply. Could be a factor if things get a little bit tricky for that initial control. Jim does cross all the way in Lounge, playing in a deep position. Main door does keep him compromised. He'll dart himself into Adam, but the multi walks on down Dirt Tunnel. Kenny's on that roll yet again. This could be an issue if they find a weakness to exploit.
Yeah, this is exactly what we saw yesterday. The Ram right behind to open up the case, and at this point, Team Secret need to start getting some of those players back towards the site. But that's where Creeds and Azure have really important jobs to cut off those attackers. But look, Creeds is going to be put into DBNO as it looks like he was captured. Now, here is the question. Is that resible? Pressure coming from inside of... Oh, that's brilliant. Jim's going to get himself the double. That DBNO will be very difficult, and what they tried to do was get the side early, cut off the defenders as they tried to fall back, but really good job by Jim not falling into that trap.
Yeah, Jim didn't react as quickly as the rest of the team did towards that multiplayer in Dirt Tunnel. Now this leaves ITB, a player down and a little bit short. You've lost your IQ, make that even more. Your Jim picks up Oscar, and you're going to be waving goodbye to Habana. Job like you're already done, but at this point it's just going to be a series of picks going one by one. I think the strategy of ITB was quite disrupted in this round. Noah does collect one, might just be a consolation prize. That was on the Savage, and it will be a Long day in the office, I'd imagine. 50 seconds left to go. 1 versus 4. Ace clutch to save the round. Don't imagine it's going to be on the cards for this one, Gibson. Difficult one from the solve.
It's 40 seconds, and you're going to give one player permission to peek, and that's exactly what Doom's going to do, and he loses his life for it. But when you get to 3 versus 1, it's more so, yeah, let's get the crosses going. So troll time was enabled, troll time was closed. The door was open and closed. Doom was given the opportunity. Now you just kind of wait. One mistake, Noah's going to have to take an engagement. At that point, everybody else should be in a position to play off that first contact.
Doom had a massive effect in this round, of course. That DBNO that happened, I believe it was Azure caught by it. Then the second pickup of the player going for that revive, caught by the player, which was Doom and Garage, a massive impact of this round. ITB, I like the vision yet again. You know, every time I look at the way they're trying to play this map, the idea that they want to impose, that strategy is always a very well thought out one. The thing there, though, is that they didn't have the players at least set up or ready for that cutoff moment, or maybe even Team Secret weren't as committed to that roam presence that perhaps ITB might have thought they were, meaning that they couldn't quite catch them out. And unfortunately, the early picks not going their way did compound that issue just a little bit. So Team Secret do get the opening round here on the defense of Clubhouse.
The thing is, though, these rounds swing on such little things. Like, had Doom not gotten that kill and he fell on the other side, I have no doubt that Into the Breach would have won that round. Basically, again, the theory of that was you get your shield on the site early. That will force the rest of Team Secret on the roam to try to fall back to site. This is exactly what ITB wanted. They had players in positions to hold those cutoffs. But guess what? You do this yesterday on this channel, in this event. Team Secret, as you said, JP and Twister would have seen that, and the minute they saw the shield inside of Dirt, they were like, yeah, we know what's happening here. So Doom would have been extra cautious while he was on his way back to make sure that those players that were holding him would get picked up by him.
This is the dangerous aspect of playing the same map back-to-back in tournament play like this. ITB have shown how they like to play this. Now, they would not have shown their entire set of strats. They wouldn't have played the entire hand. Right now, Secret done a good job adapting to what they know is coming from this setup from ITB. This breach should get opened up by Kenny. Effectively done, a single EMP sent out, and Creech will be on that Thatcher. A change that I do like seeing from ITB, just going, okay, let's just play a little bit more simple, bring the EMPs this time around, and achieve these objectives a lot quicker in the round. And that's a massive one done early.
And let's not do what Wolves do and sprint through the breach as soon as it's opened. But they're going through the list nicely. You get the player in the bottom garage, you start using utility to try to clear anybody who could be on Rafters, but it's not Rafters you got to worry about. Savage on the swing will find Azure and Doom, and the blink of an eye later will also take down Kenny. So that's your Sledge gone, that's your Thermite gone. You've still got hard breach of potential with the Ace and the Thatcher. But really good aggression from Team Secret, and oh no! Noah got timing, he was holding the angle, he came off the ADS, and he is going to get picked up by June. Creeds now has to eat an ace to win. It ain't going to happen. Savage closes out the round.
Two very, very, very kind of clear-cut rounds for this matchup. Secret out of the gates, absolutely swinging here. ITB haven't found a direct answer yet. I believe they've only really found exit frags at this point, yet to get themselves an impactful entry. Difficult position to be in so far. 2 rounds. Feels like we've only just started this map. Have already passed. So can they find a way to bounce back? Seed, CTV, and Cash. Another side that ITB did have great success attacking against Wolves yesterday on this map. Let's see if they can find a little bit of that magic now. Stem the bleeding just a little bit. Get themselves in touching distance yet again of Team Secret in terms of scoreline.
This is the exact type of start that they needed to have, considering the last matchup. You know, they were leading on the attack in the previous matchup on Border, but things just didn't quite go their way. Now, we've seen this done several times, but in the past, where you put the mirror on that double wall. Basically, once they go to breach, you pop the mirror, and at that point, you can impact trick to prevent it from going down. So it's a nice little wrinkle to the old-fashioned way of defending this wall, where you would have seen, you know, Bandit used heavily, Kaid. You can also do something very similar with the mirror, but only 2 impacts available to do that tricking. And when you look at ITB, well, they've got plenty of hard breach.
All the right tools for the job, as you mentioned. big thing for me in terms of just the flow of this matchup, Gibson, is the fact that ITB realistically need to win this round or the next. They're looking at at best, I think 3-3 split, considering how good Secret have been on these opening 2 rounds. Though, of course, a caster prediction is a dangerous one to make. It often doesn't go our way, or at least it doesn't go my way when I open my mouth for these predictions. Early damage taken, Savage finding himself in that opening engagement, likely leaving the player all the way down by stock. Dropping that hatch to live the fight another day. Pesky drone lurking in that server rack will spot the player on that main wall. And the castle barrier does separate the player in lounge from the Sophia. Lurking, and Adam looks away just at the wrong moment. And Castle will bait that shoulder peek. Trades up just a little bit of damage. And Savage yet again scampers off for safety.
Yeah, Savage took that little bit of damage on the shoulder shot and said, yeah, I'm not peeking that one anymore. He's got my number, but I love to fight another day. There is a player on red, though, as you tend to see so very often, but the castle just means that Zoph can't get into Adam and put pressure onto the bandit above. Azur will find the opener, though, as Doom does fall and attempted maybe trying to spot some claymores for the run-out a little later on the round done by the defensive side. But big thing for ITB, they've got the opener with it. Now they need to just be very careful about how they progress through the map. Do not let Team Secret build any momentum in this round.
Opening pick, very good start though from Into the Breach. Need to really compound this issue. Lurking, just waiting for an opportune moment. Perhaps the player might use that rotation. That will be Creed, just waiting. Adrian to perhaps take that gamble will open up that reinforced panel as well. And you've got less space to work with on top red stairs. Actually, realistically, no space to work with at all. Noah can send a fire dart to that position as well to guarantee it's cleared. Does get pulled away by that Ormai disc and might just choke out the play. They can't use this opportunity now to push in deep, but they know top red's clear. They can send someone up through lounge, but no one's in that position ready for it. And this breach isn't open as Virtue finds Creed's. 35 left to go. Noah gets that trade off. Noah finding 2. Adrian and Groovy off the board. Now the breach will get opened up. ITB have a lifeline. Secret, can they hold on?
And now with that door being closed as well, it does mean it's easier to push in for Kendra. Now Noah will find one. It's a 1 versus 2. The last player inside of Rafters. All you got to do is get that case, which is easier said than done, and try to get the plant off inside. But with only 14 seconds, play for the kill might be the better option. Stun grenades thrown. Virtue finds another. He's playing below. 5 seconds left, but I think that the Thunder from down under.
No!
He hasn't done enough. He gets caught from the verticality. Huge mistake from Virtue there.
Oh, Azur, a difficult fight to take through the beams. Just about finds it. Virtue had 5 seconds left to play with. I don't believe the case was in hand either. So the commitment to play for the kill there for ITB worked out, but it was only the finest of margins. So close for Virtue. Nearly finding an oh-so-critical clutch. If he could do that, they would have been 3 rounds up against ITB on their map choice, of course. Secret are trailing in this series. ITB did win border. Let's see how things continue to play out. And that might be a little bit of weight off the shoulders for this UK side. If they can relax a little bit now, grow into this, as the basement will be the side of choice.
But why re-peek with it? Why move when you're Virtue? You've got the kill onto the player on the default position. I know that he wouldn't have been confident as to whether or not the case was in play. But in the 1 versus 1, a player like Virtue, you'd expect maybe a bit more composure. But hey, at the same time, you know me, I'm never going to give out to a player for trying to make something happen. But sometimes you really don't need to. 2-1 reads the scoreline as we go back down to the basement. A little change in lineup from ITB. They're not bringing the shield operator this time around. It's going to be a more traditional clear with the Grim, with the Ram. When you see Grim though with it, you always think about a kitchen take where you try to take kitchen, you use the bees to clear behind AKs to enable a drop with a little bit of pressure on dirt. That's what I would assume ITB are going to try here, but they will wait and read to what Team Secret are trying to do as well.
Aggressive play early, but doesn't work out. The run out doesn't connect. Groovy is shut down quite quickly by Creeds in that regard. Logic bombs finished ringing off in the distance. I think Creeds could hear one more. No, it would have actually been Solace's phone. Dropped on that body. 1 player by pool table. This will be the castle. Takes a little bit of damage and will be fully slain by Azur. ITB quickly out of the traps yet again. Noah compounds that, finding Joom. 5 versus 2. Secret on the back foot, still lots of time to work with. But ITB, he can mold the map whatever way they want.
Impact drone sprint through. Grim's on his cameras and Savage says thank you very much. 2v4. Basement on Club is still winnable whenever you're numerically challenged. Now a little bit of damage dealt. That's Savage down to just 24, but as you can see, every single operator on the attacking side has taken at least a lick of damage in this round so far. But it's pretty simple. This is the scenario where Kenny the coach, way back on his days in an org called 10 Star, managed to dominate the game. Once you have an advantage like this, you can play for the trade. You send 2 players up against one. If one falls and you get the trade, you've still got a massive number advantage. So expect ITB to set themselves up later in the round to get into those scenarios.
The thing I'm going to be a little worried about here, though, is the fact that they had a lot of time. Now, they still do have a lot of time in realistic fashion, but the longer you wait to make that play happen, the more of a chance you have it where if it gets to 0-0, if you haven't dealt with the defenders, they might be able to get a lucky C4, a lucky shot to stop that case going down. They're going to attempt to try and make that one stick, but Virtue gets one on the Oscar, and we do see that trade. Savage left in DV, and oh, and Virtue finds one more! This is still winnable from the defensive side! Virtue, are you kidding me? Kenny alone. The revive happens. Not much he can do now. 2 bodies stacked up. The cover needs to be perfect. They'll swing him one by one. Savage finds it. Virtue, though. Man of the hour. Team Secret find a third.
But Team Secret are winning 3-1, and 2 of their players have got no kills. Virtue, Savage have been phenomenal. Joom has stepped up, but what a play from Virtue. And this is what I said. When you're in a map like Clubhouse, a 2 versus 4 on basement is not round over. They stuck to their guns. Virtue won some incredible long-range gunfights, got the res off on the Savage, and managed to take the round. Remember how we were a little bit annoyed at Virtue in the last round? Well, he's certainly redeemed himself the very next time of asking. Team Secret 3-1 up, but really, ITB will be very disappointed that it's not 2 apiece.
What a little round from Virtue, though. I mean, that is why you pick up a play. The fact, when Virtue was on the free agency, that is a deal and a half from Secret. That round, Savage had a massive part to play in that too, but Virtue, that fight on main stairs, giving the space to buy the revive, forcing it into a 2 versus 1. Exceptional play. Great composure from Team Secret, and you gotta think about that. It was a 2 versus 4 going into that moment. Case goes down, ITB, they should be able to win that every day of the week. Absolute miracle round from Secret. Can ITB bounce back from this? Creed's on the Amaru. What are they cooking?
Take nothing away from Savage either. His 2 kills in that round were huge.
Absolutely.
But a little bit of actually no damage from that fall. If that was me doing that, I 100% missed the ledge. And my
I've
team's
seen him
playing
do it.
Right, we don't talk about what I do on Chalet way too often. Anyway, 2 minutes and 20 seconds for ITB to work with. This map was attacker favored yesterday in their matchup. Well, so far today, Team Secret look to have their research done. Drone network established in parts, plenty of information being gathered, up on top of the rafters. They know that there's a bandit in play. They've got plenty of information for this gym bedroom tech. But as always, you open up this wall, you open up jacuzzi, you basically try to open up construction wall then too, cutting off those defensive rotates and forcing them to fight on multiple fronts at once. It's you're usually the one that mentions what split theory is on a broadcast, but this is exactly what ITB should be trying to do.
Might be listening.
It's scary, I know, but
right. well, the big thing I'm going to say here is that those are 2 completely unprotected bandit wires, and they delayed this push around 30 seconds. And you just bring a Thatcher EMP and you're inside much quicker. Azure does get the opening pick of this engagement. Joom is first to fall. For that, you lose your bandit. A flurry of kills happens as Savage gets a trade off on the Oscar. Actually, no, they both trade each other off. Perfectly timed headshots land that up. An entryway gathered inside. Oscar not too happy about the crouch aiming there.
10 out of 10. Oscar's so happy with that one. 3 versus 4. Stun grenades being tossed over the wall as Virtue continues his rampage in this matchup against ITB. 8th kill for him in just the 4th round. Nades being thrown to try to clear some space, but as you can see, Noah not really getting much out of the back of it. Groovy not too bad. Big flank coming from Adrian now. He creeps, he sprints, he makes some noise, but it doesn't matter. Adrian will catch out Noah. 3 versus 2 as the other 2 attackers are not too far away. Red ping is coming out as well, feeding even more information to this defensive side. Now, Team Secret have won at numbers like this before. They won a round in this scenario where they were numerically challenged, but I think this time they're not going to fall into the same mistakes ITB did. Groovy gets the kill. Team Secret take the round, and what a defensive half this has been so far.
Team Secret look to be in complete control here of ITB's map pick, and I think if things continue on this track record, we keep seeing the teams playing the way they are, it's going to be a situation where both teams swap picks and Nighthaven Labs might be calling our names. However, ITB have opted to use their tactical timeout right here, right now, and I think a good time to do so. There's a lot they need to correct for this one, and realistically, they need to get this next round to go into a 4-2 split.
ITV timeout. Last time they took one, they won the very next round. I think that they're probably in one of those situations where the mental might not just be in the best possible spot. I think that they're still reeling a little bit from losing that 4v2 on a basement attack. But if they can win this round back on a map like Clubhouse, a 4-2 defensive split is something that I think teams are pretty used to coming up against. But with a Team Secret, if they can win CCTV cash, they take a 5-1 lead, and that'd be a hell of a bounce back considering the way that the other half went for them on border.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
Very much would be. In my head here, I'm just thinking about how this could go for ITB. Again, they did play a very good opening half. They played a very good 6-round offensive split against Wolves yesterday on this map. It's not been the same team that we saw in that matchup, and it just hasn't looked as clean-cut, as clinical for those rounds. Team Secret have been able to find a lot more gaps than Wolves did, and the ITB have been punished for it in the scoreline. Very reflective of that so far. 4-1 they lead. Can they make it a 5-1 opening half here on Club?
This is the one site that ITB managed to win, but remember, that came down to a 1 versus 1, where Virtue lost the vertical angle fight with Azure. So even though ITB won this site, it still wasn't necessarily a very clean round victory for them. Attacking lineup, you've got everything you need to clear Rafters. You want to get your Capitao in bottom garage, you want to clear the player that's playing on top of Rafters at some point in the middle of the round. You can use Zofia to assist with that as well. But with it, you got to get the main breach open. And without having those EMPs, you got to get control from below in order to do that. You've only got the 2 impacts, but we know that the time that they live for is not that long.
I'm just looking at this going like, again, I'm just a mere caster in this position. But again, you have an EMP, you have Thatcher on the board. It would make things very easy for that main breach. It would ease up any time constraints, but clearly there's a vision that ITB have for this round. Kenny should be able to get this. Virtue is down below. The Sophia is going to get a good job of that, and that breach happens up for free. So I stand corrected. A great execution there. They know Virtue would have been in left in DB. Nope. They will find one more. Creed's gets that pick and find a second one now. And it looks like it's going to be an absolute rampage. Creed straight in the sight. Doesn't have the case, can't make a stick, but will burn away one of those smoke casters. The mute goes outside and Creed hunts it down. Shut down by Savage in a scrappy, chaotic opening to this round. ITB do come out the victors. 4 versus 3 for them.
2 toxic canisters gone as well, but they were in the middle of sight, but Kendrew was a little too far away. But at least with only 1 left, you can try bait that next one out. 1 player on the rappel, 1 player still playing below for the attacking side, and everyone else is just waiting. Holy this. 1 minute and 10 seconds is a long time. You've got drones that you can utilize. They've still got 6 up that they can work with. Will make that 5. But with Rafters control, with the breach open, this should be plantable. Noah gets the kill. It's a 2v4. Surely not again, Whip it.
Surely not, right? It's I mean, it's Jim and Adrian this time around. Well, very quickly, very quickly, ITV settle the nerves, don't concede another 4-2 advantage, and they get themselves their second round on the offensive side here on Clubhouse, meaning that it will be a 4-2 split in favor of Team Secret. Not the best day in the office considering how good ITB looked on the offense yesterday, but they'll take this. They're in touching distance of getting this matchup level and move towards that defense. Basement will be the first site they bring out. What do you want to see from ITB moving on to defense, which yesterday was their weaker side?
What I want to see from them is just consistent rounds where they don't give away easy picks, where they don't find themselves, chasing. Like, when you look about that game with Wolves, so many times, particularly on their defense, they extended a little bit too far. They were taking on gunfights that don't really favor the defenders. So I want to see them put themselves in more winning positions, more winning scenarios. Now, you're looking at the lineup for this basement defense and you're seeing a bandit. Well, you gotta assume that he's going to just reinforce or use it on these walls on the top floor. So Jacuzzi, and you're going to use it over on the side as well by CCTV. But again, another team, they're trying to force the opposition on attack to clear every single inch of this map before they can focus on site.
To me, I'm looking at this going, I think Team Secret, with just the fact that they're going to bring out the EMPs, get this map cleared with relative pace, could be an issue for ITB so far. I think you see one of those orange silhouettes lurking up by, looks like logistics, might be out by construction, one in lounge that might get cut off from this opening up of this double doorway, actually tucked inside of Adam. I mean, again, they're one opening pick away from looking very vulnerable in this round.
Vulnerabilities is something that Team Secret are definitely going to look to take advantage of. Silhouette inside of Rafters, but as you can see, it's very difficult to clear that player, even with this breach open. So now they need to get, if they want to clear the player, get some pressure in below. Pre-firing by Noah takes a lot of damage, down to 31. Drops but manages to win his one. Will Fall gets traded instantly, but you look at the player he removed. Capital, who, let's be real, but one of his jobs was probably to clear that Rafters player. Yeah. But look at the damage that he dealt. 46 left for Thatcher and 76 left for Habana.
Very well played though from I believe it was Noah, just to get that opening pick as well. 1-for-1 trade. No team realistically gains an advantage from that, but Capital off the board, as you mentioned, would have been the primary job in this angle. Yeah, it's disgusting. I don't like that. Oh wait, don't do that again, Jim. If I died to that and ranked, I'm upset for weeks. Weeks, Gibson.
Is that why you've not played ranked in so long? Because you're just upset all the time?
I've told you, I'm retired from ranked. I'm having my quarter life crisis. Now all I do is play golf every day.
You play golf and you don't even play standard. Come on, like, what's that about?
I'm retired, man.
Retired.
I'm in my old age now, Gibson.
I wonder why you don't play the game anymore. I'll let the viewers at home try to work out why Whippet doesn't play ranked anymore.
I don't play ranked anymore, Gibson. I still dabble. However, 40 seconds left to work with, and well, 40 seconds.
Jeez, where did that round go?
I mean, it was Clubhouse, Gibson. I mean, this is a typical thing. You find that opening engagement, then things get a little bit scrappy in the mid-round, and you have 30 seconds left, just like that. So, we will see an attempted electric trick on this hatch if they even go try and open it up. They do have motor hatch available to them, so Team Secret in a good position, and they're posturing up to make this attack stick. The EMP goes out, and by the time these pellets are deployed and open up that hatch inside of stock, you're going to have around 15 seconds left to work with. Azure will get to pick on towards Doom, and now ITB, one player up. They might be able to make this a difficult round, but Virtue fires off. Timer goes red, and they need to make this one stick. Adrian, all alone, takes a C4 to the skull, but claims one life. He finds that pick. Virtue's out for cover, but it's all down to this, and Azure makes it stick, being a hassle, being a nuisance inside of blue. The case doesn't go down.
A second. As you pointed out, 15 seconds is all they had for that execute. If they had 1 second more, they win that round. Remember what I said about ITV putting themselves into winnable positions? I don't really think they did that in that round, but in the 1 versus 3, they get it done anyway. CCTV cash. Now, how many times have we seen the attacking team win the site over this weekend? The attacking win rate on the site is through the roof lately. Let's see if ITB can be the one to buck that trend. When I'm looking at the scoreboards, you look at these teams, both of them have a few players that are doing the brunt of the heavy lifting in the kill feed, and a few players who've just not had an impact. Oscar, the MVP of the last map, 2 and 6. Groovy, one of the better fraggers on the secret side, 1 and 5. These players, if they start heating up, we could be in for one hell of a game, because other players who you don't normally see topping the kill feed are putting up really nice numbers.
I mean, I think, realistically, we're talking about Virtue in this sense. 10 and 2 so far in this matchup, having a tremendous performance, realistically speaking, on those more supportive roles, not in that front line. A massive, massive part of the play and a clutch on the defense side for them as well. ITB able to get themselves in touching distance. They can see a level playing field just after this round victory. If they can find it. Bandit trick goes out. Oscar should be able to deny Adrian here. A good timing here. An exothermic charge should just about go off. No. Oscar, finest of margins, but the bandit trick is successful. This is going to leave ITB in a little bit of a difficult position. Don't have a Zofia. They can't use those impacts down below. You have to do things the long way. And Oscar finds the opening pick as that player down below. Savage on that buck. Does try and make something happen. Well, that's Sledge, I should say.
Yeah, but that's big, because that means Oscar's a bit more safe in this position too. He was the only resource that Team Secret had invested to playing below. Now, you maybe prefer to see an operator like Buck be the one to take up that position, but there's still 1 minute and 50 seconds to go. You look at the drone economy, they've lost 5 of their drones already, 1 yet to be deployed, so their ability to get information is not necessarily completely limited, but they still have to do a little bit of work with 1 minute and 30 to go. But you've got Thatcher, you've got Ace, but the problem is without a Capital, without any real counter to play on the window, that main breach is going to be a very tough nut to crack.
ITB in a great position just to almost not coast this round out, but play around the natural defensive structures this map gives you. That final exothermic charge used to open up Jacuzzi, and again, this is going to be a massive blow to this offensive push from Team Secret. You are now forced to realistically push exclusively via construction, maybe even some pressure from Garage. You can maybe vault in radio window, but your options, just because that balcony breach isn't opened up, are very restrictive. Again, every second counts. They'll try and get their flank drone secured to make sure no one from ITB wants to push them, but notice that red silhouette down below? Someone is thinking about it. That's going to be Creed's.
Who else but Creed's the person who could be the biggest of thorns in the attack for Team Secret? Pressure still being put on. Really good throwing of that Kiba barrier will force a little bit more time to be utilized as the stun grenades are now thrown. You've got to make something happen. Ace takes a little bit of damage as he sprints through the smoke, but Oscar finds another one, and look at that cover. Noah, the DBNO, but Kenny will not fall just yet. It's all down to Virtue. 15 seconds left. He is having one hell of a game. He'll stat pad a little bit, but with 10 seconds to go, no case, 11 points of health to work with. That'll be that for him. Oscar, we spoke about the fact we needed him to wake up. Well, he answered beautifully. Big round from Oscar, big round from ITB, and well, the sides are level.
ITB, they almost looked a little bit flat in the opening half of this matchup, and all of a sudden, 3 consecutive rounds strung together, they bring themselves level, 4 rounds apiece. It feels very reminiscent to how Border felt at that moment. 9 rounds deep on Border, it was the same position. Both teams level 4 apiece going into it. Yeah, just like that, this is anyone's game. ITB, of course, did win the opening map of Border. They can get over the line here on Clubhouse. Their ticket to the Esports World Cup is booked.
It's scary. It's actually scary to think about the fact that we're so close to finding out if ITB will be traveling on those flights to compete for a share of that $2 million prize pool. And not to mention that, but there's a bigger prize pool on top of that for the best club at the whole event. But you're not in a bad spot if your tertiary site on this map is gym bedroom. And you look at the setup, there's nothing really surprising with what they're planning to do. They extend over across the map. Maybe the little difference, the little wrinkle would be the fact that they've extended into CCTV instead of making the hard point of contact being inside of Cash instead, with that wall being soft. But they expect they're going to lose Jacuzzi Breach. Like, that's why you play the mirror on Bathroom Wall. You're like, we're going to lose the breach at some point. But that's where Kenny needs to prevent any real pressure of the push. And as you can see, there's not even an attempt to trick. They know they're losing this wall.
Secret, though, very quickly decided to not opt to open up that server wall, going directly for this position. They're not going to send it through that breach. It didn't work out for Rose last time out, but I wonder if the addition of that bandit trick is just going to delay the decision-making process of Secret down. They're going to wait a little bit longer before committing out towards servers. I mean, again, bandit is going to be in that position. Noah's tasked with that bandit trick, and no one's pushing in for it. Groovy is down below in bottom garage, likely to ascend up the rafter staircase to put that pressure on directly, but only one direct avenue in the site established so far. Actually, no, correctly, we do have server wall open, if that was the Ace's job. Apologies for that misread of gameplay. But minute 50 left to go. ITB still not in a bad position. All these power positions. Hell no. Oh, Creed.
Was Creed's reinforcing?
Yeah. So, okay, they thought the keeper. No. So what Creed's done was call for the keeper barrier. It just didn't cover him enough as I threw it out. Just didn't catch the angles right. And Creed does lose his life in that position.
So you're blaming Azure instead of Creed. That's what you're
I'm
trying to do.
I'm not blaming anyone. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm saying what happened as Doom does find a pick on towards Oscar. ITB, it's a bit of a difficult round for them now.
You're not blaming anyone, but you did say one of the players didn't throw the keeper barrier correctly. Okay, I get it. I see what you're doing with that one.
Well, listen, it's what happened though. I mean, I like the vision behind it to get that patched up behind the keeper barrier. Just the angles didn't line up properly.
Yeah. But I think you have to get that control of CCTV at the very least if you want to attack this site correctly, because that means they did get the wall breach reinforced eventually, or that soft wall reinforced, but it just means that if you want the vault in the window, you can. It looks to me like they're going to try to get that case down behind the mattress in sight. There is still 2 C4s in the pockets of these players though. Bandit's got one, Mir's got another. So this round is still not over. Aggressive plays, Kenny gets one. There you go, round is over now. Flawless from Team Secret.
Why did you say the round's not over, Gibson?
Because I want Nighthaven, and we need Secret to win more rounds if that's the case.
Okay. Reveal your caster bias to the world. I see how it is.
I am a man of the people, and the people want Nighthaven, okay?
Chat, do you want Nighthaven? Yes or no?
I guarantee you that ITB fans would be fine with Nighthaven if they still win at the end of it, right?
No. Okay, yeah. Caveat there, if they win at the end of it, I think if I'm a member of the team of ITB, the support staff, if I'm a member of the organisation or a fan in Twitch chat, I want them to get it done on Clubhouse. Don't want to go all in Nighthaven. You don't want to be in the third map with all to play for.
I'm not even showing team bias. I want the cast Nighthaven. All of LATAM, even BR, we got to cast that map once in a full stage where we were casting 2 days a week. We got to cast one Nighthaven in the whole season. I won.
Yeah. And Vasco win it 7-0. Yeah.
5 seconds to insertion.
Yeah, it was over the blink of an eye. Dante, who's now at Team Cruelty, who will be at the Esports World Cup, just decided that these guys.
So just like that is a checklist done from Gibson. Name drop Dante from LATAM on a broadcast for EU. Locked in.
Yeah, easy. You only start dropping the names of like Bliss players who've qualified as well, because Bliss have done an excellent job.
Okay, that is true. I mean, listen, I would start name dropping CAG players, but unfortunately they didn't qualify. So heartbroken.
I don't even know. Poor CAG. Anyway, this round is 30 seconds gone already. You can see the extended roam here by ITB, looking to use that utility from Team Secret once more. Team Secret upping the tempo just a little bit to try clear Noah from this position. And you can see they've already got Rafters control, and well, Noah's gone as well. They can get that breach open. You don't really need to open that breach now at this point because you've killed the player. But let's see the tempo continue, right? They were very slow 2 rounds ago. Let's see Team Secret try to be a bit faster on their attacks without getting careless.
Again, that's the key word though, without getting careless. It's easy to sprint into space and try and buy it, but oh, ankles just spotted there. That the member of ITB retreating back, but Azure does find one. Adrian off the board. That case goes cold as well. He does retreat down main stairs. Look at this, Gibby. Oscar alone inside of kitchen with an ACS 12. Make your predictions now, Gibson, and the rest of Twitch chat. Is he going to be able to make this thing work? As they might leave him undetected, so they're very much worried about that Fender, who they likely know retreated down this staircase. And I have a feeling they might be a little bit complacent here. I don't think they know.
Well, but look at how much utility he's used as well. He's got 4 key barriers in his pocket.
God.
He's playing to stay in, right? This is either there we
Yes!
go, it's genius. It's genius. He's got his 1. Yep. There's 2. Why not? No, he
Nope,
misses
nope.
the shoulder entirely. There,
Oh my God, Oscar, let's go.
Oscar, 7 and 7. We were talking about how he only had 2 kills a little while ago, and you know what? He doesn't even have to leave now. He's still got 4 key bar. Use your utility now. Make it even more annoying for those attackers to clear you.
He might be able to treat all the way in the freezer. He's got so much space to work with, and, well, Deagle out this time around. He'll hear the pressure. He'll finally use one of those keeper barriers. Extends just a little bit too deep into the line of sight of Doom. He'll take that one. Realistically, a freebie, but damage done. Oscar finding 2 and draining so much time away from the offensive round of Team Secret. Virtue, Doom, the last 2 standing. And they only have 15 seconds to make something work. They have to realistically charge in this site and try and stick this case or play for kills. Crossfires from ITB should be established, and this is going to be Doom on board with him finding one of the creeds. Are you kidding me with that shot? Virtue, are you kidding me? Falling for that one. 000 dawns. And for a moment, you thought maybe just there was a chance.
Oh, Whippet, that's 2 rounds on a basement attack. The Team Secret have lost on 000s. What is going... Virtue, by the way.
It was
G2,
Virtue who got that first kill, by the way. It was a tube.
Yeah. G2 looked at Virtue and says, nah, we don't need him. You know, we need to make a change.
Oh.
Yeah, look at this.
Silly.
13 and 4. But this is what I mean, right? Virtue's 13 and 4, and they've lost 5 rounds. 000s has been the problem from Team Secret. I'm going to give all the credit to Oscar. He was the nuisance, he was the problem. Just when Team Secret were comfortable getting ready to execute, he was a thorn in their sides, and he used up so much time to try get that final kill. So all credit to Oscar for that big play. And also, Whippet, I have been told, a whisper in my ear, the chat want Nighthaven. They've spoken.
Oh, right, Twitch chat. If you've cursed ITB, it's on all of you. Whether you support them or not, it's on you. You've done this.
Are you blaming people again?
No, I'm not. No, I didn't
blamed
blame
Az-
any.
you
No,
blamed
no,
Azure
I
earlier.
didn't blame Azure. No,
You
that's
did.
not what happened. Stop misconstruing my words, Gibson.
Chat, you heard it. Did Whippet
No,
or did
but-
Whippet not
okay,
blame
I-
Azure for Creed?
I didn't blame. I mean, look what happened. The keeper barrier didn't cover the reinforcement, and Creed's died. That's what happened. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm saying you.
If you watch back the VOD, you'll actually see Whippet goes, that is terrible play from Azure. He baited Creed so hard, and now the breach is going to get open nice and quickly. But the book, Whippet, hard breach
Yeah.
gadgets to open
Yeah,
up the
he's-
main breach.
Okay.
No
Yeah.
hard breach other than that. So it's a very different attacking lineup from Team Secret.
Listen, it's I'm always interested to see when teams decide to bring commitment to those secondary can openers instead of a primary hard breach. Again, they do have that line of sight. The DMR used to rip open that keeper barrier. Of course, it is now vulnerable to ballistic damage. Bailiff will masterpiece of a rotation down below in garage, carved open by Doom. They'll be able to use those hives. Oh, there's a little bit more to go.
There we
Not
go.
gonna lie.
Now you can
Yeah,
get it.
when I watch a Bailiff, I always get a little bit sad. It reminds me of how Liquid lost in the Manchester Major.
Shh, don't talk about it. Didn't happen.
Okay. True, fair enough. The fire goes out, the bees are likely to arrive as well, but 2 players stuck on rafters, and, well, they're cozier. Kenny is in that swarm. He might be stung by those bees, but Oscar, out of the moment, finding Doom.
Yeah, and there's the Flames, though. It's back to a 4v4, and they've not quite wrestled away Raptors' control just yet. You've still got to deal with Azure in this position, but now you can use the DMR and all that heavy fire to clear these Kiba barriers. As you can see, there are none left to work with. You've got to deal with this player, but those Goyo canisters, they are using up they're going to be using up so much time plus the smoke from a long ways away. They're investing a lot of resources on the defense to protect the Raptors player.
A massive investment, but I think it's going to be a huge return on that investment. The case is stuck in that position as well. Again, using the secondary hard breach, meaning you have to vault in that primary balcony breach, which means you're going to be in an unfavorable position. But look at this from Azur. He needs to win the next engagement given towards him, no matter what it is. And it's going to be that Capital down below on that garage door. That's going to be the case player. And I think it might be a wise choice, 30 seconds remaining, to begin to rotate away. But he's going to stay absolutely perfectly still. The vault-in radio window. Azur needs his team to be there. Creed finds that trade. Savage needs to get a little bit more success. The C4 down below from Oscar. Second in the round. 3 versus 2. ITB in control. Charging through the fire. Through the flames will be Adrian. Virtue gets Noah. And Adrian's going to be the lifeline. Adrian's going to be the savior. Team Secret take the round.
And another round that almost came down to 0-0s, but this time Team Secret take the round. And well, this is it. This is match point for them. Are they going to force Nighthaven Labs, or are ITB going to pull us to overtime? Big round, huge game from Virtue that we're seeing. Adrian went big in that final round, but whip it. When we look at the scoreboards, we spoke about one player on ITB needing to be the leader for his side. Kenny, 0 and 9 after 11 rounds of Siege.
You did not just do that.
I just read information.
Oh, so it's fine when you do it, but I'm blaming a player when I do it.
Yeah, well, look, apparently chat said you're biased, so it's fine.
I am, but not in this game. I mean, every caster is. Don't believe what popular media tells you. Every caster's got a favourite.
Yeah, there's a difference in having favourites and being biased, though. Come on.
I'm not biased. I want this to be a good game as possible. I was talking from the mindset of an ITB fan about how things might go.
Oh, you were putting yourself in the shoes of an ITV fan, saying what they would. Okay, right, well.
Yes, exactly. You know, will you allow me that at the bare minimum?
No. Anyway, back to Siege.
Of course.
Round 12, 6-5. Team Secret looking to force a third map. ITB looking to force overtime. Extension has been put in place. They've electroclawed the wall. Remember the last time they extended out of the CCTV? Well, this time, not so much. This time, they are going to put that line, draw that line in the sand inside of Cash, which is a bit more par for the course. There's a little golf reference for you, seeing as you've been enjoying it a little bit lately.
No, we've made it like an entire weekend with no puns, no wordplay, and you brought out one of the most atrocious ones I've ever heard in my life, Gibson.
I've literally made multiple tennis references over the weekend already.
Okay, that's true, but that's like a reference. That wasn't wordplay. I mean, you have to break the serve, but nonetheless. Let's see if we can tee off this round in favour of Team Secret. They can get this one closed out and go all the way to map 3. ITB. Retreating, falling back. They still have control of Cash. That wall does appear to be electrified, but Virtue's EMP deals with that problem. They're going to try and catch a rotation around. That's what Groovy does. Noah's off the board. And that's one step closer to Nighthaven Labs for Team Secret.
1 minute and 30 seconds though. They're halfway through the round already. They've opened the breach into Cash. Now a little bit of damage dealt though onto Jim as he steps against that electrified wall, but gets himself outside the building, get back on the drone. You've still got those mirror windows to deal with. The one that's going to be the biggest problem is most likely the one that's inside logistics looking towards master bedroom. That's the one you need to deal with. That's why you need to get a little bit of pressure on logistics itself. Creed's playing that position. You look at the feed. 2 C4s to work with as well. All of the Team Secret players up it are still flowing across the map. It screams a master bedroom execute.
40 seconds to make a stick though, if that is going to be the primary intention, and I think you've nailed this absolutely perfectly. A case going down behind the engine. The cover seems to be good. Groovy in a great position for it. Logic bombs rain out. A set of hives sent down. A great shot towards that player in bathroom. Doom, Groovy fire off as it gets a kill with the barbed wire. And it is going to be a death tome of ITB. But Gibby, That means it all goes down to map number 3, Night Haven Labs.
We wanted it, the people spoke, we all wanted Night Haven between these two sides, and it is simple as this. It's no longer a best of 3, it is a best of 1. Whoever wins Night Haven Labs is going to book their trip to Riyadh. For the viewers at home, well, I'm looking, we actually don't know on our sheet who's going to be attacking yet. I did a big build up on who was going to be attacking, but we don't know. But anyways,
it'll be a surprise when we get there, Gibby. It'll be part of the drama of a third map of the best of 3. But as you mentioned, this is it. This is your final chance for these teams to qualify for the Esports World Cup. It is a best of 1 shootout here on Night Haven Labs. They've had 2 maps that went the distance in regulation, 7-5 victories for either team. They swap map picks. A lot to play for this one coming into it. I mean, this has been a fantastic series so far. I mean, in the close qualifiers on stream, the very first matchup that's went all 3 maps, Gibby, make a prediction right here, right now. Pick your team for who's going to take this map.
I'm going to go for Secret because I know you're going to go for ITB. It's as simple as that.
I was going to go with the viewers, but you know what, Gibby? I think...
Why?
Normally
Why did
you
you
do that joke.
I don't make that joke.
But of course, I mean, a little bit of history, of course. We went to border. Both teams swapped their picks going into it. But Night Haven Labs is going to be the final match between these teams. A ticket to the Esports World Cup rides on the line, and it will all be decided after this break. We'll see you then.
$60 million!
You've been seeing that a lot, right? What does it all mean, though? Here's my friend Alex Machine Richardson to help explain.
So, 60 mil, 20 tournaments, 8 weeks. You probably already know. But how does a club prove themselves to be the very best in the world? That is where the Esports World Cup Club Championship comes in. The Club Championship is where things really heat up. $20 million awarded to the top 16 clubs, with the newly crowned best club in the world awarded an astonishing $7 million.
Wait, so how does that actually work?
It's simple. We've got 20 tournaments. In each tournament, the top 8 teams get awarded points towards their club championship total. The higher you place, the more points you get. Now, these points are worth the same in all titles, so it is important to not put all of your eggs in one basket. But it's important to remember that the club champion needs to win at least one individual game tournament.
Nice, so we'll probably be seeing clubs trying to qualify across a range of games to have the best chance of getting their hands on $7 million.
Yeah, man, there's your incentive. More clubs, across more games, more competition.
And so the race begins. This summer, we will crown the best esports club in the world.
Welcome back in, everyone, and what a game we have currently going on in the Esports World Cup qualifiers for Europe. ITB and Team Secret going all the way to map 3 to find out who will be the final representation from this region out in Riyadh in just a few weeks' time. Whip it. The best of 3 burden is no longer a thing for these two sides. It's as simple as this: win and you're in.
It's the most difficult position for both these teams to be in. They've played 2 grueling maps against each other, both at the time going all 12 rounds, 7-5 victories either way. And now it's all down to this. You have got at max 15 rounds to book your ticket towards the Esports World Cup, and a lot of pressure sitting on these teams. And well, we've mentioned how ITB were clinical yesterday on their attacks, and well, it hasn't been the same story from them today. And Gibby, we noticed an interesting thing about this map, Veto, is ITB yet again have went attack here on Nighthaven Labs first.
Yeah, and it says a lot because on one of those maps, at least, they had the choice on which side to start, and they elected to go on the attack. So they have a lot of faith in what they're able to achieve. And when you look at these rounds, Whippet, they've actually been very effective on their attacks. Like what, they've won at least 50% of all attacking rounds over the first 2 maps. So it's no surprise to see them continuing to back that confidence. But one thing is for sure, they need Kendrew to get more involved. 0-10. And Whippet, the only operator, he got more kills with Monty on map 1 than he got in the whole of Clubhouse. And straight away, Team Secret have removed Monty from him.
I think there's a fair level of just the fact that Monty is a dominant operator on this map. I don't want to imagine it's a directed target ban, but of course, I mean, I don't like to highlight player performances in that regard, but it is certainly a factor going into it, especially considering how tight that matchup was. And I did feel that ITB lacked a little bit of firepower, especially in those latter rounds when they could have done with someone who's able to win a couple extra engagements. But brand new map, big mental reset. They had around 10 minutes to speak with Kangaroo Kenny, their coach, begin to figure out how they want to go around things as Monty, Maverick, Kaid, Tuberau are the bands going out here. Nothing too bleeding edge and realistically following the script of what we tend to see here on Nighthaven Labs. It does enable operators like the Valkyrie, like Dokkaebi, like the Ying to still be a factor in this matchup going into it. But again, I think, to be expected with the bands that we've seen.
Well, here's the thing. I like to think of this map as being a hybrid of Consulate and Clubhouse, right? The top floor, very much top floor attacks play out very similar to top floor, you know, CCTV cache attacks onto that Clubhouse side. So it's no surprise seeing Maverick and Monty banned because you want to get control of those rafters in the round. And much the same way that Basement, this site in particular, reminds me so much of defending Garage inside of Consulate, where you want to establish vertical control up on top of the breach to allow you to play through. Very similar as well to Chalet. So they've taken a lot of aspects from those 2 maps, melded it into one, which is why we're seeing the bans the way they are. I think these bans in particular are very similar to what you would see on those 2 maps.
Really realistic for me right now, as I'm very curious to see how the first 3 rounds play out between these teams. It's been the way I like to describe it is, I think for ITB, they're a little bit of a streaky team. They do tend to be able to, if they get 1 round, they can likely find a second, and they do have pockets of domination, and they begin to fall off, and a lot of peaks and valleys in terms of the scoreline of their matchups. It's why we often see them go deep into 12 rounds. Secret posturing up for an aggressive denial of the entryway here. As I believe it was Groovy with that vector, just trying to deny entryway. Gone 6 goes out, one of those castle barriers burned away. And I think it's going to be a slow affair for the beginning stages of this matchup.
Yeah, so 2 minutes and 20 seconds to work with. Mute jammers in position, you can clear that, but this is the thing, they've extended much the same way they do in other maps. You try to get Team Secret, or to get ITB to clear the rest of the map, and this is something that Secret feel like maybe ITB can suffer with. You know, they feel that sometimes their attacks can be very slow paced, and if you control top floor, it means that you can stop the opposition side from getting verticality as well. So that's what Team Secret are playing for as things stand. You can see the silhouettes, you can see where those blue ones are, and Azure might just be a few steps away from that opening engagement. Virtue, continuing his fine form, will be the first one to find a kill on this map.
And you mentioned, though, continuing that form, Virtue was exceptional on Clubhouse. First of all will be Oscar, who, I have to say, had a tidy game as well for ITB. Dokkaebi calls go out. First of those logic bombs has been used. Creed's on that roll this time around and does find that trade. very quickly, though, Savage will take Azure off the board, meaning we're back to advantage for Team Secret on this defense. And the Solus might get compromised here. Flashbangs go out, and that will give away the intention of this push. And Stuck blinded on Fish Staircase will peek out, fully blinded from that. And Kenny, a better start for Clubhouse. Oh, doubling his performance for Clubhouse just like that. And that's what we need him to be able to do. Finding picks in that mid-round. And now ITB 3 versus 2 in favor of them on the offensive side. This is a great start for them here on Nighthaven Labs.
Now, I do maths professionally, and double nothing is still nothing. He's infinitely improved his performance over the last map.
Listen, Gibby, I would not trust you with my accounts, even though you're an accountant.
I wouldn't trust you with your accounts either.
Yes, I pay my fees.
Whip it. It's execute time. 30 seconds to go. 2 versus 3. ITB have the numerical count, but there's that castle strat that we saw in that matchup between Furia and FaZe
there's
in
no way
that SI
out.
final. Yeah, you gotta beat it up. He doesn't have the Gon 6. He's got no ammo to work with, so that player is essentially a non-factor for the next few seconds. You've still got the angle from Kenny. He's gone with the R4C. He's going to peek around the corner. Noah will find his one, but there's only 5 seconds to work with. They've got the case, but Creeds has got the kill. ITB take the lead, winning their opening attack here on Nighthaven.
A much better overall round from them. Of course, we'll make our jubilations about Kendry being able to find that 2-piece in the middle of the round, but that was a massive turning point. Finding the Solus, which was going to be a nightmare to deal with if they're trying to get that case down in the latter rounds as well as the second pick he was able to find. But ITB did a very good job dealing with a massively extended roam presence from Team Secret. Basically, Team Secret played the entire map on that basement site. They did not give an easy entryway for ITB. I believe the only way they found success was that push from lobby into kitchen where Creeds found the opening. Good start from ITB. Let's see if they can keep that going as upstairs we go. Normally the first choice for many of these teams.
This is very important for Team Secret to bounce back now, having lost that opening round, because on this map now it has become a best of 1, so this is all about building momentum, putting rounds together, finding a way to just keep yourself into the game going into those final few rounds. Have you noticed the fact that Savage has tried to stay hidden? So Savage is playing as Clash. He's gone prone behind the desk, trying to keep his identity completely hidden from the attackers for as long as possible.
It's, you know what, I'm going to give massive respect to that one. Bringing Clash out is certainly a brave choice for any team to do. I mean, it can be a massively infuriating operator to deal with. We see many teams struggle to deal with it, especially if Team Secret can get an early advantage in this round. Having a Clash be able to bear down that pressure can be very oppressive for the offense to deal with. So ITB don't think they're aware of that threat just yet. See if that'll be a factor. One thing though, Gibby, I will say, we did see both Wolves and BDS yesterday, the two teams that have already booked their ticket to the Esports World Cup, using a lot of Deimos in particular. We haven't seen these teams bring out that operator just yet. Perhaps you think there might be a space in the lineups for them.
Correction, we saw Shaiko using a lot of Deimos yesterday. True. I think he used it in every single attacking round. I think there's always room for that operator if you have a player who you can let go and take on those 1 versus 1s. I feel like these two teams are more focused on trying to get 2v1s as opposed to 1v1s, so that's what's going to happen. Verticality, or at least reverse verticality, trying to be created to prevent the Bandit from being able to trick, and that's exactly what'll happen. A little bit of tag damage onto Adrian here as well, but now the Clash will come into play to prevent them pushing through that breach. But great job from ITB on getting it open.
Reload.
Yet to find that initial engagement, or at least that initial lethal engagement for either of these teams. First set of Candelas being thought about, and it will be sent out towards into Garage Bay. On those rafters, Buck down below, going to be proving to be a nuisance time and time again. Azure, though, on a very limited amount of HP, 5 to be precise. He'll even be stuck by a Goon Mine and vaulting in. That Ying does get control of rafters. Noah gets the opening. Virtue is first to fall in that moment. It's going to be a difficult one now. Clash, though, can bear down. Well, look at this. Kenny's HP just draining away. The Buck down below plays such a critical role to displace these players. And Ying might have missed a vital opportunity to get those freebies, having to pull that mine out of their ankle. Oh, no.
Remember, with that goo mine as well, you could potentially get a kill onto Azur, because Azur is down to 5 HP, but it is, of course, a... Oh, yeah, this should be another round win for ITB. You've got the Clash back on their feet, but it's all down to Savage. He'll fall flawless. Kenny adding another one. As just like that, ITB racing into a 2-0 lead. And it just seems like Secret are getting overwhelmed.
Remember when at the start of this during the pre-game, I mentioned that I was curious about the decision to go back on attack here because it didn't work out too well on Clubhouse. I take that back, Kangaroo Kenny. I'm sorry. I'm back to being a believer.
You're like a pendulum, back and forward. You're like, you know what? I'm supporting the winning team.
Well, yes. Listen, Gibson, I've been a lifelong Liquid fan. I will support the winning team in any other game. Okay? Okay.
We've had, as Liquid fans, we've had enough. We've had enough.
Oh, still.
You can't see it, but I've had it up to here, chat. You know where I'm pointing above my head.
I'm still not recovered from Manchester. They did. I mean, Liquid did qualify for the Esports World Cup.
Manchester, Jönköping, the 6th Invitational back in what 2019, 2018. Yeah, like it's been a rough. Yeah, it's been rough.
Did win Atlantic City though.
Oh.
10 seconds left.
Anyway, alas, we must focus back on Europe and an ITB in a good position here, leading by 2. See how they can continue to grow this one. The clash didn't work out last time for Team Secret, but ITB, a very well composed side here. Their attacks, they've had a very clear vision of what they want to do. You see the way they move through the map, everything's via purpose. I do like this from Team Secret, of course. Not uncommon to see it, but they will reinforce down below in that basement, making those walls at least require commitment of utility to open up and delay a little bit of time going for it. Drone Network getting extra information as it can from the side of ITB.
Yeah, so they know there's a mute, they know where the bombs are. It's a third site swap for Team Secret as they look to find success somewhere on their defensive half. But if ITB win this, they've guaranteed what they would have wanted at a minimum, 3 attacking rounds to work with. So, you look at their lineup. Blitz could have something big to say. Kenny going for the shield operator. At some point, we will see that shock and awe offense that we talk about. Using Zofia to help get this breach open will enable them to play the vertical aspect of the site as well. So ITB are getting through their checklist very nicely indeed. But with 1 minute and 50 seconds, 55 seconds to go, we're still waiting on that first engagement. We're still waiting on that first real domino to fall.
Carrying on the blitz is going to be an exciting factor for this round, and it will be the catalyst to perhaps be an aggressive play. Open up that barrier in combination with those Yin Candelas. Should be able to find a freebie as Doom does get Oscar in that middle of the chaos. He vaults in that window and will be slain. Case is recovered, but guess what? Doom is going to be a merchant down below, finding a second with that C4. Savage will get Noah, and the advantage does sit with the defensive side of Team Secret. This Case won't go down, the cover isn't there, and Kenny will try and bide his time best he can. The drone network from his fallen teammates is good enough to detect the players inside of loading bay. The aggressive push from the Azami trying to find pressure on that blitz. The flash wasn't good enough. He will trade with Savage, leaving it all down the Creed in 1 versus 2. Make it a 1 versus 1, and Creed's millimeters away from finding the head of Groovy, but just good enough to get that job done. 1 shot would have been enough, but Team Secret do get their opening round on the shoulders of Groovy.
That was so close to being a great clutch from ITB, but Secret are off the board. And Kenny's been slain. 5-1 Whippet after, what, 3 rounds? Considering he went 0-10 last time. I feel like he's decided last map was just a one-off. He's here to play on Nighthaven. But I still feel like ITB are looking very good. They were getting the opening picks again. They got themselves in a position where they could get the case down, but a C4 blew their plans to pieces. But all in all, 3 rounds down, ITB have looked the much better side here on Nighthaven so far.
They've looked like a team that had the clear vision of what they want to do round after round, and I'll say it's just a very, very strong individual performance from both Groovy, as well as a combination of Doom down below. I believe he had an angle on that window, so when it was Oscar who vaulted in, he was pretty easy to get captured from the player down below. The C4 was a great prediction of where that player was going to be to get that job done, so nicely done from the side of ITV.
Yeah, so 2-1 the score. Let's see if ITB can win basement. First time we went here, well, it wasn't necessarily the prettiest round in the world, but ITB won it on kill count because the case went down. But a couple of similarities with it. So they've double castled off by the Animus side. The whole point being that they'll get the wall open at some point, but usually teams push through Animus a little bit later into the round, so you want to slow down the time. You know, we saw in that big matchup between the then Furia roster against FaZe.
There you go.
Yeah, we saw that matchup where it had such a big impact on this map. So with 2 minutes and 20 seconds, how quick can ITB work the tempo on this map? Because you got to give them credit with it. Their tempo's been really good here on Nighthaven.
A lot of a factor to that, though, as I'm going to say, is they've been able to use operators like that, Ying, and the information's good down below. They spot the player on the staircase. Noah will get that credit. Groovy is first to fall. Again, a tidy game from every member of ITB. Contributions across the board. Azure does fall. Runs into Virtue down below. A difficult fight to take as those phones ring off in the back pocket as Savage begins to put some pressure on the player stuck in the middle by the pillar. And there's too many angles to deal with. Bodies just begin to swarm. Adrian will get that kill credit on towards Oscar. It's just going to be a difficult one as down below is proving to be a graveyard for ITB, but Noah gets one of his own. Creed fires up, time the second in this round. And just like that, Team Secret reduced to 1. Savage doesn't last too much longer as the site falls, all in favour of ITB, and they get themselves another round here on Nighthaven.
The tempo's excellent. Honestly, ITB are playing on the front foot, and they are getting so much value from a 3-1. A minute into that round, they were already in the center of the site, and they were able to win their all-important gunfights to give themselves and keep that advantage. So, as we move to round 5, ITB have met the minimum requirement for them on their attacking half. Everything after this is a benefit. It's an extra. It's the the cherry on the icing on top of the cake on what's been a very good attacking half so far. At what point, if you're a Team Secret fan or even a Team Secret player, do you start to feel like this is just sliding away, slipping through your fingers because they need to do something now to stop this rot?
I don't think a team's going to be thinking that yet, Gibson. And honestly, I don't think they're going to be thinking it for a very, very long time. Right now, they need to try and deal with dealing with the aggression and that initial pressure from ITB. I mean, you put it perfectly. The tempo that Into the Breach are playing at on this map has been exceptional so far. They've been able to basically just beat Team Secret in their gunfights and be able to put the team under excruciating pressure early in these rounds. So you need to find a way to relieve that, or maybe a solution could be to take those fights earlier and try and win on those entry engagements. You can slow down, disrupt that rhythm from ITB. You might be able to find just a little bit of success that they so desperately need at this early stage.
Looking at the lineup on the attacking side, so we're seeing, Creeds take that rework recruit. You know what? I like it. You can get the breach all by yourself. You got the impact EMPs. That's frustrating. And the trick is successful, so you're going to try again. That'll be another bit of utility wasted. But he tried to get the trick off. He tried to bait it, but it didn't happen this time round. It'll be the main breach open though, as that cannot be tricked successfully. And ITB once more, 50 seconds in, already working through the list of jobs they need to get done nicely.
At this point, they have connector and main breach all opened up, and an opening pick to their name. Azure finds that one to Groovy, and this could be a very long and difficult day for Team Secret. ITB seemingly have this map completely locked down. No comfort for Team Secret in the slightest. Difficult engagement now on that garage door. Not opting to take it, and down below, hopping on board here with Azure. That skeleton key can rip through those floorboards, force people out of those key positions, but a silhouette from Team Secret's lurking just around the corner, and Azure just has no information on that, and Savage gets a freebie, but Oscar's very quick on the draw, gets Adrian, and the advantage remains with ITB.
ITB 4 versus 3. They're 3-1 up on their attack already, and they're just looking to continue to dominate here on Nighthaven Labs. Now, there's a bit of a maze that's been created, a whack-a-mole, you might even say, on that wall over by Fish Stairs to try and keep them thinking. But look, there's a ping. He's going to spray through the wall, but he doesn't tag him this time. Ying Candela's go off. A little bit of damage dealt, but he's not going to get the down as the player's still behind the wall, and Kenny will manage to finish him off. June trades one back. 3 versus 2, but ITB's tempo's good, but what a shot from Savage. Bring us back to a 2 versus 2. Oscar will ruin it for him, though. It's down to a 1v2. There's one player left alive. It's all down to Jim, the Valk, with lots of information, but Oscar picks the right hole. Jim will fall, and whip it. What an attacking half, and it's not over yet from ITB.
ITB look exceptional on Nighthaven Labs right now, and I mean, I'll be the first one to hold my hand up and say, after what we saw on Clubhouse as well as Border, I was a little bit skeptical of how this would go. However, they have been absolutely near perfect at this moment. The way that they're playing around these difficult positions in secret, are trying to maneuver around the map and make things as hard as possible. ITB have done their homework. ITB are so well regimented, they're making it look easy right now. They lead 4-1, round number 6, the final of this offensive half from ITB. If they can go into the half with a 5-1 advantage, what a great position that puts them in, moving into their defensive side.
ITB have been, we've said it before, have been so good on their attacks over the course of this series. You know, they've, up until this map, they had a 50% attack and win rate, and now they've guaranteed to go above that. The very worst this can finish is 4-2, but if this goes the way they want, they're going to be 5-1 up, going onto their defense on Nighthaven, and they will literally have 1 foot in Riyadh at that point. Final attack, they're bringing the blitz once more. Last time that they attacked this site, they tried to execute very quickly. Once they got vertical control, they got Kenny in a position alongside of Oscar to plant, but the C4 ruined it. Is there going to be any changes to the attack this time, or do you just feel like they think that what they did last time worked? It was just that one C4 caused the problem.
I think realistically the vision and the structure of this and how they shape this attack is going to be pretty similar to what we saw before. They're going to get some primary control upstairs and push players out of these default positions and walk into loading bay with the intention of basically using that blitz to get direct access onto site. Now, they're aware that Zoom played down below previously, and Zoom, once again, on a different operator, but has a C4 to work with. If he's down in basement, committed with that backed up behind reinforcements, he can be difficult to displace. So I wonder if that factor alone is going to make them decide to not push in from loading bay and go direct here from electrical. Spot the Legion, and it will be Kenny who falls on it. He's going to be stunned from that Legion mine. He will get that blind off, but he commits just too deep, and Adrian's there for that cover.
Yeah, Savage is there as well, gets another one. Creeds will find a counter kill on the Savage, but it's a 4v3 now. A little bit of damage dealt, but we got one DBNO. Groovy's down. Adrian's down to 11 HP, and all of a sudden, we've got ITB back in the round. But it's still not over yet. You've still got to get in towards site, Whippet. You've got a lot of damage dealt, and Frost is still in play. Do any of the ITB players forget themselves and tread one of their feet on those dangerous pog mats?
I mean, not just the frost mats, Gibson. There's going to be those Capcan traps as well. As you get towards these final few moments of a round, it can be scary. Joom does fire off, finding Oscar. Advantage back with Team Secret. They have the yellow pings, are fully aware of that Capcan's position, but the case does go cold. The crossfire from Virtue's absolutely perfect, and Noah falls off the board. Team Secret have fought valiantly to get themselves into this position. Creeds, though, still very good as a technical player. Good chance of trying to save this, but that crossfire is just too deep. Adrian will get that credit, and it will be a 4-2 split. ITB still did a good job to get here, but a little bit of damage limitation from Team Secret.
Yeah, but it's all about their attacks now. They need 4 rounds out of the next 6 to force overtime. That is a very big ask on this map for this Team Secret side. Do I think they can do it? Of course. You don't get to this position without having that in the locker. But ITB, having seen the way their attacks went on the their defenses went on the previous map, they would have had a few minutes to talk between the maps. Will need to slow down these attacks. You always say that round 7 is, in your mind, one of the most important rounds in any game of Siege. That first round, post the side swap, will whip it. If ITB manage to win this first defense and they take a 5-2 lead, surely at that point you feel like it's insurmountable for Team Secret.
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
It's okay, listen, a 5-2 lead, listen, if I know anything about these teams, it's the fact that they are going to be able to fight to the bitter end, whether it's Team Secret or ITB. Team Secret are not going to give up until it is done, until it is absolutely over. They know they can't win that final round. 5-2, all they have to do is think about getting all the way back themselves. Now, it won't be easy. ITB have played exceptional so far. The side swap might tell a different story.
I feel like Secret have so much pressure though, but this is where those more experienced players come in. You know, players like Adrian. At this point, you can argue Savage has plenty of experience now. You know,
you just say like Adrian. It's not his like
I meant to say
second
Virtue. I meant to say Virtue. It's not even a second stage. He's at one stage.
Oh my God,
I meant to
you're
say
right,
like
okay.
Virtue.
My apologies, Adrian.
We weren't aware of your game. So
a lot of salmon sent out to that wall, and I think all three of them have just been tricked. Yep.
oh no. Oh. Do you know why? Because they were all in the middle of the wall.
No, they were left and right, but I think it was just.
There was one in the middle.
Oh goodness. Anyway, not a great start for Team Secret. Can't really argue against that one. There's the camera.
They've got thermite. Oh, Kenny gets Doom. Down goes your Thatcher, so it's going to be.
Yeah. So this is now basically what I'm gonna as Gibson. I don't want to say this is a doomed round almost, right? You've lost your Thatcher, you didn't get that primary wall open, and now your thermite in connector is faced with electrified wall. You don't get me also sees the fact that IT room completely electrified as well. You have essentially doorways, hallways, windows, all the vault through. But Virtue does find that lifeline, gets control inside of electrical, and that might be exactly what this team needs. He's made himself a problem for ITB, as they can now the site is split in half essentially. And Virtue, exactly what Team Secret need right now.
Virtue's been having one hell of a series so far. 4 and 5 reached the stat line this time, but he keeps himself inside of that very dangerous position in electrical. He can just keep those defenders honest. There's a swing from Bandit, but Noah and Oscar, well, I just started to speak and they said, Gibson, stop talking. This is our round to lose. Oscar, keep an eye on Fish as they start to take Rafters control now, but it is still a feeling that it's too little, too late. Adrian will fall at the hands of Noah, leaving it all down to Savage. He takes up the same position we saw Virtue fall a few seconds ago to. Will it be the same answer? Trying to bait the peak, trying to pick it, finds a little bit of damage onto the banner. He goes down to 4 HP. But it looks all but a 5-2 lead for ITB.
Yeah, it does at this point. This is just going to be a kind of a game of weaving in and out of this door frame, essentially. So the round is done unless there is something heroic. So we can begin to almost write the eulogy for this, as you said. So Team Secret do drop 5-2 down at this moment. ITB, a very strong initial defense from them on this top floor. What would you say? Right now, the key to success is for Team Secret is going to be, because they need to find something in this matchup to be able to bounce back, because ITB have seemingly had the answer for everything.
I think for Team Secret right now, they need to have they're going to need to change something, right, going into this matchup. I feel like that last round, they had a plan A, and when plan A went awry, they didn't have a plan B. They didn't really have that next step, right? You try to get the main breach open, it gets tricked. So then you try to push from the other side of the map, and your Thatcher dies on his way over to that section. So in reality, they didn't have a chance in that round. Like, they tried to force something, but it was never going to go their way, having lost the Thatcher and having seen that breach not get opened. I want to see them... Right, this is going to sound strange, but on Clubhouse, they were having success when they slowed the tempo down. Now, you could argue they nearly slowed the tempo down too much, that we weren't even having 20-second executes, we were having 10, 15-second executes. But I feel like with the players ITB have, that they've got a tendency sometimes to overextend, to peak, to try and make something happen a little too hard. I think Team Secret need to play into that. Let ITB be the ones to make that first little mistake, get that kill, and then work on working your way into the round. Play off of ITB mistakes.
I mean, the difficulty, though, is if ITB don't make those mistakes, you can't punish them. And Caster jump scare, hello, I'm seated this time again. I'm back at
I don't like it. You look so short whenever you're in your sitting position.
I'm
this
sure.
This is Whippet standing up by. This is what it's like whenever he stands beside me.
Unfortunately, I can't beat that. I'm vertically challenged compared to Gibson, so I'm not small as people think I am. I'm just not as tall as Gibson is, unfortunately. But I mean, for ITB, though, they played a fantastic matchup so far. They have been very, very aware of how this map plays, the strengths and weaknesses of it, and have read realistically into what Team Secret are going to do, both attack and defense so far. That last round, that first round of the second half, that was a brutal one to watch from Team Secret's perspective.
Yeah, as I said, they ran out of options, they ran out of ideas, and they can't really afford any more rounds like that. They're 5-2 down, we're going to get back into the game, but as it stands, ITB are just 2 rounds away from Riyadh now. It's not a very difficult equation. If you're Team Secret, you need to win 4 rounds in the time that ITB win 1 just to force overtime. The only way you win this in regulation is if you go flawless from this point on. So either way, if Team Secret want to book their seats on that plane, this is going to be a long map.
Long map indeed. It's a long flight is what for many of these players that they do qualify. No pickup there, Gibson. Just gonna.
No, I was waiting for you to say something else.
What was it? No, I mean, I was just making it. It can be a long flight out to the Esports World Cup.
It could be. It was certainly long for us when we went 2 years ago.
That's our journey. Listen, when I say this, right, when me and Gibson travel together, it's never an easy time. It's a calamity from day one when we travel to an event.
The minute I leave my house to go to Euros to pick you up on the way to the airport, that's the way it always goes.
I know.
But look, I'm sure these players will not mind how long the journey is as long as they get to take that journey. So, a castle barricade will be dealt with the nade from Team Secret as they get rid of some of that important utility. A little damage dealt as well onto the Valk as 2 members of ITB drop sub 50 HP in the early stages. Logic bomb deployed, that'll also reveal the positions. And not only that, you know, something that we don't always talk about is logic bombs means that the defenders can't access their cameras either, so it gives you the opportunity to take so much space if you don't hear those phones popping off as well. And now you asked for a Fenrir, we're finally getting one.
No, I asked for a Deimos.
Or sorry, a Deimos.
I asked for a Deimos.
Well, we do have a Fenrir.
Don't. We do. Okay, I thought you were gonna make. I thought you were gonna make the joke about Fenrir there towards me, and I was gonna be very angry. But yes, we have.
Oh, what? That Latam thinks you look like Fenrir.
Well, yeah. Whatever. So Doom is going to be on that, you're confusing it, on Deimos. The death mark can be used again to force that technical 1v1 position and hunt down one player. It does work both ways. And Vendetta is very good at dealing with that pressure, likely to use it in a vertical sense in these rounds. Noah gets the opening pick, Virtue's off the board, and this is a difficult one now. Ace is no longer applicable for this side. 1 damage done, chipped away. That Fenrir gadget will blind this blitz. Doom does pick up one of his own as there falls. A difficult descent down the staircase in towards Exo. You have to fall back from this.
Yeah, you've taken the space. Don't get ahead of the attack now, though. You've cleared that player from that position. Do not move any further than the rest of your attack, because if you want to be the spear of an attack, well, you still need the rest of the team right behind you to help. So, they've done the right thing so far. 50 seconds. I said that Secret need to slow the tempo down a little bit, and that's exactly what they've managed to do. They're creating verticality. One of the benefits of that Deimos pistol whip is it's pretty good at opening up some lines of sight as well.
Yeah, I mean, you need to bring the shotgun in the primary slot if you really want to make that work happen, but again, the Vendetta, if you have someone marked from verticality, can be a very lethal tool to have. A drop in towards Animus happens now, that's going to be your blitz, that will be Groovy, and that procs alarm is just going to re-ring you off as he's backed up by the Ram in this position. They'll try and break their way through this barricade. It's going to be a very noisy affair as they storm on out towards site. Look at that timer, only around 15 seconds left to go. Kenny, Oscar firing away. Kenny, oh no, finding the back ahead of Noah. But it's all down to one player. That will be your blitz. Swarmed out by ITB, and round 8 goes their way. A single round away ITB now sit from qualification from the Esports World Cup.
And I would say at this point, some of the members of that org are probably already looking up their flight options, because at this point, Team Secret need perfection. Anything but perfection, or they are done. They're not traveling to Riyadh, and ITB will be over, taking up that final European spot. I'm going to say it, ITB have looked brilliant on this map. It's been a really tight game so far between both of these sides, but on the third map, ITB just looked a little bit fresher, a little bit more aggressive. It's... How do I put it this way? The big question now for ITB is how quickly they can get the job done. If you start giving Team Secret a little bit of hope, a little bit of momentum, things can go wrong pretty quickly. The best case scenario for this team right now is to just get the job done.
It's so much easier said than done, Gibson, though. I mean, for ITB, I think the mindset, and very similar to what you mentioned, is it has to be job not done. One more round to win. And this can be one of the most dangerous places for a side like this. You got to remember, ITB, this is a fairly new roster. It's a new organization at the Tier 1 level. A lot of pressure riding on this. A disappointing run in Manchester, not making the main stage. You know, kind of middle of the pack inside of EUL so far. A chance to play at one of the biggest tournaments in the world. One round away. You gotta feel that pressure for these players. So they gotta lock in and compose themselves. This next 2 minutes 30 could be life-defining for them.
Oh, you're talking about it. It's life-changing money for the winners of the Esports World Cup. But you gotta be in it to win it. This could potentially be the final round of these qualifiers inside of Europe. Secret need to do something. Last time they attacked and they tried to clear the top floor, they got tricked. This time, well, at least they're going to get a portion of that wall open, and that might just be enough to cut off those rotations. You've still got those Kiba barriers inside of Rafters. Remember that Monty ban and how effective Monty can be at clearing Rafters both here in Clubhouse? Well, that is something that Team Secret might just regret getting rid of now.
Much better start though from Team Secret. They were able to get a successful use of those Selma charges, not burning them all away. We've seen them do previously on this. Again, different, slightly have to attack for this one, beginning to work towards that top floor control. They haven't found a lot of success with this yet, and ITB, I think, are going to make the sensible decision to sit a little bit more reserved, play risk adverse, not make mistakes, and that verticality will find them one. Azur gets the first blow. Savage is slain. Minute 20. Do Secret have a reply?
I don't think so. There's another kill from Noah. 5v3, 5v2. 2 kills in 1 minute and 13 seconds away from the Esports World Cup finals. Information has been gathered, but for Joom and Gruby, this is a mountain. Joom will step up. He will find one, but he's going to get traded back. Oscar gets Gruby. Joom, what can you do? Your Esports World Cup dreams are falling away. He trades with Creeds. Congratulations, ITB. Get those flights booked. You're going to Riyadh.
They've earned their key. They've earned their chance to compete at one of the biggest events in the world. Oscar will be the MVP of his team at that ending, but what a performance here on Nighthaven Labs. They played an exceptionally good game. Team Secret had no answers, and while it's the thrill and the agony of competitive competitions like this, the joy for ITB, but you must feel for Team Secret going all the way 3 maps. Such a good matchup, and just falling short at the end. Commiserations to them from it, but a great showing from this new look Secret.
And let's just take a second to appreciate how incredible of a job this is by ITB to make it. And first off, this org has been doing some fantastic work in esports in the UK scene over the last 12 months. But the players, Whip It, Azur was in tier 3 just a year and a half ago, plying his trade. All of his teammates on the old 10-star roster were getting trials for T1 teams, and he didn't get one. Now he has booked his way to EWC. Kenny has been one of the best coaches in the UK scene at that level for so long. He finally gets the chance to get into tier 1, and this team managed to qualify for EWC. Oscar, another rags to riches story. It's been incredible for these guys. They'll hope that EWC can be continued success. But as we look at the bracket, let's remind everybody at home how we got to these 3 teams qualifying for EWC.
Well, of course, our 3 European representatives, BDS, Wolves, and now ITB, have fought a long journey. Day 1 on Friday, Team Secret got victory over Ents. BDS take down VP. G2 slain by Wolves, and Fnatic fall short to ITB. BDS and Wolves, the 2 French sides, get that W yesterday in those semi-finals, and we've just witnessed a nail-biter 3-map conclusion to the storyline to get ITB booked. They are joining the ranks of some of the best teams in Rainbow Six out there in Riyadh. You know, from Brazil, we have FaZe, W7M, Liquid, Furia. From South Korea, PSG Talon, Japan, and Scars have made it. From Latin America, we have Cruelty. From Asia, we've got Bleed from MENA, Geeke, as well as Bliss from Oceania. Some of the best teams in the game, and now ITB get to play amongst them as they make their way to the group stage, which will be taking place on the 31st and 1st of August.
But do not fret, if you're still looking for some Siege entertainment, there's one more spot up for grabs. Later on this evening, SSG will be taking on Sonics for that final spot at the Esports World Cup. It will, of course, be on this channel right here from 6 p.m. Eastern. You can catch all of that action. Whippet, looking forward to that final spot. We're not casting it, so you can be as biased as you want. Who do you want to see win between SSG and Sonics?
Okay, this is a difficult one for me. I like both these teams. I love both these organizations. However, I've got to side with my favorite and the only North American team I'll truly ever support, SSG. Listen, they've just picked up Benja, a player with basically one of the highest ceilings in terms of Siege, and they have a great coaching system. Call out a fantastic backroom staff member. I mean, I love this team. My money would be with SSG to make it, but it will not be an easy matchup. Sonics are a difficult team to break down.
Yeah, I think I'm going to root for SSG in that one as well. So it's become time to end the European qualifiers. So first off, I want to give a massive shout out to every single player and team that took part in these qualifiers. I want to give a massive shout out to our production team today. Kai and One did a phenomenal job. I believe One was observing for us, so great job to those guys. Make sure to show them some love in chat. Whippet, thank you as always for being my partner in crime when it comes to casting the Esports World Cup. And for the viewers at home, also, you can keep up with all the action on Twitter. Esports World Cup is already underway. 21 different titles over the next 6 weeks with champions to be decided. Whippet, anything you want to say before we wrap up for the night?
I think you put it perfectly, Gibby, but of course I will end up with a massive congratulations for ITB, booked their ticket, and another congratulations for the rest of the European representatives. There's Wolves and BDS. I know they'll do this region proud, but Gibby, that's it for the European qualifiers. In a little bit, we will have the North American qualifiers, see who gets that final ticket. But thank you very much for joining for this one, and we'll see you all later on.
$60 million!
You've been seeing that a lot, right? What does it all mean, though? Here's my friend Alex Machine Richardson to help explain.
So, 60 mil, 20 tournaments, 8 weeks. You probably already know. But how does a club prove themselves to be the very best in the world? That is where the Esports World Cup Club Championship comes in. The Club Championship is where things really heat up. $20 million awarded to the top 16 clubs, with the newly crowned best club in the world awarded an astonishing $7 million.
Wait, so how does that actually work?
It's simple. We've got 20 tournaments. In each tournament, the top 8 teams get awarded points towards their club championship total. The higher you place, the more points you get. Now, these points are worth the same in all titles, so it is important to not put all of your eggs in one basket. But it's important to remember that the club champion needs to win at least one individual game tournament.
Nice, so we'll probably be seeing clubs trying to qualify across a range of games to have the best chance of getting their hands on $7 million.
Yeah, man, there's your incentive. More clubs across more games, more competition.
And so the race begins. This summer, we will crown the best esports club in the world.